Reactivating live stream channel live feed channel live activation. Welcome back to the live streaming live almost daily. It's the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo featuring the one, the only, the cosmically intergalactic discotheque jockey and auteur, originator of the infamous robot rock dance music subgenre of music known as discotheque synthetica. Please open up your ear portals and enjoy the funky music that is literary fictional robot rock dance, groove-tastically delicious, that it should make you want to get up and wiggle. We'll begin the live stream shortly. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please be advised, all previously performatively read and induced announcements, disclaimers, protocols, and other provisos, as cited at the beginning of these most recent couple of episodes that are now currently highlighted on the purple platform thingamabob, as well as any others that we may read off. I may reenact some partial readings today. We're all part of an experimental process to reinvigorate and reanimate and bring back from the writer's block, stalemate, graveyard of imaginative forestalling known as writer's block. The one, the only, the Zeppoverse literary world-building project. Please stand by. Live stream will begin for reals shortly. Gonna get ready. Gonna toke the toke because you know how it is. Please be advised, this is a cannabis-friendly zone. As previously disclaimed, no argumentations about it will be entertained other than to reinvigorate my own working pseudo-scientific, pseudo-mystical, pseudo-entheogenic, transcendental theory thesis about it. So brace yourselves if you want to argue that. But I'm not going to depict it on screen because I don't need to. I'll take a little private moment. Enjoy the music. Be right back. And we will proceed with all kinds of fun experimental literary world-building project experimentations. Please stand by. Please stand by. And that second message didn't come through. Also, please stand by just reset itself. What happened there? Welcome. I just intentionally closed the camera lid because of this. DJ Zed in the background. I'm testing levels and reevaluating how things look in the end. Welcome back to the show. We're going to be focusing on new weird ideas. Let's pop on over here and open the flap. Greetings. This is a ow, I shouldn't have pulled on that so yankingly. DJ Zed, you're looking a little too loud over there. There we go. Chill out in the background, all mysterious like. Worked out just right in yesterday's weird post-production process. Hello there. Welcome to anybody who is actually currently watching live. Whilst also hello and thank you and welcome to anybody watching on the video on demand shelf here on the Purple app Twitch with a T as it stays there for a hot second. And if I find it bizarrely entertaining and or meaningful enough, I may highlight for permanent archival. And or also shout out to anyone hello that might be watching over on the YouTube platform in my deep dark archive, where I also sometimes remember to hit post whatever that button is labeled and actually get it sent over there. So the Zeboverse is a book series made up of very many book series. We have been rebooting / relaunching / reinvestigating the whole thing from the foundations up. Let's walk through for now, since this is the long form full stream. This is the Infinity Desktop Portal of Infinities, through which we can jump to visit and see the backside of the internet and my whatever's going on my desktop. So this is the inside of Twitch. Shout out to everyone. I just cleared the chat. We have disclaimer in the disclaimers that I sometimes make my desktop read. You know what we'll do? We'll find that right now and have it get read off, just so that it's there. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I am a real human being attempting, perhaps quite demonstrably in the rough and tumble horrible stage of like, it is far from totally complete. Where would be this is one of them. That's send silent mode. This is that one, but doesn't it say hello humans? Hang on. I'm looking for a specific blurb of text now. Fictional character is the first one. We should have this on file. Is volume amped up all the way so it sounds nice and loud? Let's see how this reads, even though I don't have the microphone all the way up against the iMac. Hang on. I gotta find the right button to push and then remember to take off my glasses. And then remember to not move the mouse too far. Here we go.
Fictional character disclaimer. Dear human audiences, Please be advised of the following literary convention and real-world fictional MacGuffin. I am a robot fictional character, with a redacted message for the humanity species, from a book series you have not read yet, because I have only just now started writing it for you, right before your very eyes, live on stream.
End take complete. That might turn into a thing. But also, yeah, valid. I don't know how intelligible or intelligible that might be. What do we got here? We've got a detained message by Autobot. Oh yeah, we're gonna block that person. Boom, you suck. We got some sales solicitation chatbots in the room, but maybe, just maybe, also some real human viewers. Welcome to you, dear human viewers. Somewhere I make a joke about that in my. This is a bit of an endurance gag. When I try to copy paste and keep up with, the way the desktop reader voice reads the thing. Also, shout out to V, who dropped by to say hi in the middle of the gag. And I managed to keep up and kind of post some live, minimal, actually typed in my keyboard responses, whilst also trying to keep up with this whole text. But what's another disclaimer? Ah, yes, this one's a valid one. We should definitely... Hang on. I gotta reset. Okay, I gotta set the thing and then reset my face. Try to capture this so that it's usable as like a... I want to have like my own little soundboard of channel intro loops that I can just play. I just moved it. No, I didn't. Here we go. Unrehearsed. Although I have done this once or twice before. The whole read of the entire thing. But it was just mostly like Chuck E. Cheese level. Not even trying to sound out the syllables. Lip synchronization. Performance art is silly. And we're doing here for the sake not of doing it necessarily itself, but as like a proof of concept to see if I can do it in weird ways. B, as like to have as assets for occasional use and or for posting on social media to attract audience members. And B, I might actually make entire episodes where I pantomime the thing off a script that I record. Maybe in segments, maybe in one long take. But also that entails a whole other day's worth of extra work to do really right. And if you've watched the last couple of episodes, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you haven't yet, please feel free, especially if you're watching this video in the future from when it was recorded on one of the archive places you can watch it archivally. Go ahead and please stop and go back and dip your toes into any of the ones that came immediately before it. They should be numbered, except for the very first one doesn't have a part number, but it's like the same title with no part number, which is number 1, and then part 2, part 3, which is the one we're in. Okay, the mouse is still set up. Here we go. Tinkering, proof of concept, hot takes of portions of my disclaimer for mini magic movie loop with laser beam eyeball treatment, just to see whether they turn out like and whether or not they're funny enough to, attract new audience and or function as self-commodification mini magic movie loop segments. I'm fighting a terrible itch deep in my nostrils that makes me fear that I might interrupt the take and take a terrible, brutal, unstoppable sneeze right into the microphone coil itself, which would suck. Hello! Let's see if this is a human enthusiast of the show and or an automated solicitation bot. Deception King. Heck yeah, Zeppo. while you're at work. Woo! Thank you very much. What's up? Thank you for dropping by while you're at work. If you need to, monitor without actually needing my audio to go anywhere, thank you. You're more than welcome. Earn that watches but don't listen viewer badge that you can use as an icon if you need to. But thanks for being here, and thanks for letting me know, and thanks for being a person that is trying to show my support to the show. Also, J Turntable, what's up? Yes, I've gone full nocturnal night owl mode. Welcome to the Cray Cray. Nocturnal night owl mode has been activated. I wish I wasn't wearing my big, crazy, stereotype, actually useful prescription reader glasses just then. Hello, and welcome to my insert name of real human friends here that are dropping in to say hello in the live stream. And yes, indeed, insert your funny name here, guy. I am currently in full-on night owl, nocturnal activation mode activated, because it's less hot at night. And in the daytime, I sleep like a vampire, imagining it's a sweat lodge and having horrible, vivid nightmares about the end of the world, cosmos of my fictional development world literature fiction, comedy, satire, book series. Welcome. Hang on. I should just make a magic movie loop of that. Rock on. Hopefully that's just the right timing. Okay. Back to what we were actually trying to do. What was I actually trying to do? I wasn't on full cam mode. I was on wonky. But that's fine. We were in teleportation mode of looking over here, and we were about to do another something else mode. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take two. Back it on up. No Bit for Reals, hello, and thank you, and welcome. Thanks for being here. The camera could be slightly less down angled. Ow. I recently did something like slept on my shoulder funny and then herky jerked it hard on something funny and then slept on it funny bad again. And now it feels like insert redacted. I don't want to manifest it. Redacted. But hopefully it'll start feeling better soon. Should I try and reenact that weird thing I just did? Yes. For anyone wondering, live and or in the not too distant future on either of the archival ways you could watch this in the not too distant future, and or dear singularity, if you're watching when you emerge from the soup of digital primordial soup that you have either already and or are in the middle of and or will immediately in the not too distant future and or in the couple of millennia emerge. Thank you for watching, first of all. Please take the following concept into consideration. Pin on the corkboard. I am an aspiring novelist that is also a professionally trained theatrical performance artist, trying to be weird and absurdist and hopefully moderately laughable, even if it's trolls going, what is this fool making a fool of himself about? To get eyeballs, to generate self-commodification, redacted, and audience to potentially alpha read, test my slowly emerging paragraph by paragraph, page by page romp through an original sci-fi action adventure infused with fan fiction elements, book series of many book series. And boy, do I have sometimes logorrhea of the mouth and keyboard. As you will either get used to and start to enjoy, or cause you to totally reject. Thanks for being here. I'm going to push a few buttons and do a few things over here. DJ Zed is playing in the background, gently muted at what I hope is not too distracting of a volume level. And we're going to do some stuff that is loosely organized. I've got ideas still scattered about. There's ideas on my cell phone that I want to actually tackle. There's ideas on did we ever do we never did this next take that we keyed up because then we got distracted by something else. Before I get ahead of myself, there's a lot we're going to try to address. Hopefully I don't talk myself hoarse too quick and then have to take another really prolonged station break. Speaking of which, I should maybe not yell at the microphone. There's no need to yell. I can just lean in and talk all without pushing it into a whisper horsing. Right. We need to do a rehearsal take of this disclaimer in particular because we are indeed doing, although it was not titled as such, doing a partial conversation with the dreaded AI, one of many dreaded AI systems. Because of sunken cost fallacy, already invested way too much time and effort, and might as well use the tools of our oppressors to try to secure a way to proactively propel myself into independent self-financing vis-a-vis the supposed legitimate means of digital production, right? Anyways, please endure with some patience as I do a hot live recording take in front of you of me doing a lip sync of one of the many multiple disclaimers in my automated reading of my sometimes way too long, sometimes way too short fake AI, because I'm not crazy. I don't think I'm an AI digital nanobot technology silica-based life form from a parallax dimension. But the character in the book series does. But here goes this lip-syncing reading where I act that up a little bit extra because in one of the multiple iterations of this character in the multiverse, he really is a sort of weird, like, first-gen Westworld rusty bolts and clackety style Chuck E. Cheese. Insert all kinds of references, but I'm not trying to invoke proprietary IP. But you know what I'm saying. Okay, here we go. Real quick. Here comes the recording attempt. I just keep babbling. Oh, I need to reset the push button prompt. Here we go. Automated voice reader will begin in 3, 2, 1.
Disclaimer. Some AI-generated material will be occasionally used as part of the show. Warning, please be advised. Whilst some materials that will be prompted for generation and readback is indeed AI-generated, the video you are actually watching, and the host himself are assuredly not.
End recording take. That might be kind of comical. Okay, is there anything else? Maybe I might as well do this one because I don't think I've done it. And I can actually do both of them at the same time. I can do all 3 of those. I don't want to do 4, do I? Right? No, might as well do all of this. We'll do all of this in one big long take. Here we go, friends. I'm going to sit back and try to be a little extra surrealistically puppety performance artisty about it. I'm just kind of warming up and building towards like full body robot multi-take, me talking to myself in different forms and in different slight variations of costume and slight variations of attitude and performative gesticulation, but I'm not there yet. I haven't actually made any of that content yet, but all of this is sort of ingredients and snippets and blah, 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 and building blocks that we're performatively refining through rehearsal. Thank you for joining me for the live stream, if you're watching live, and if you're scrumming through this in the not too distant pronunciation error code update pronunciation protocol systems to 3.3333333. I forgot to warm up. I'm a jerkwad. That's a terrible... Erase that word. I am a subpar performance artist that did not warm up before performing artist mode activated. I'm a jerk. Okay. going to be a medium-length take of multiple different, kind of interrelated warnings and disclaimers from my prolonged warnings and disclaimers intro text bit. A long time ago, I tried to record myself reading a similar version of a similar script that was probably not this one, but something very, very similar. But I haven't done something like this in a bit, and I'm going to stop introducing it. Here we go. I've got to reset up the start prompt. Just got to find the menu and the submenu. Here we go. Voiceover proof of concept recording. Mini disclaimers. Take 333.
Take note of the fact that the very real human performance artist behind the character is only pretending to be a robot. The real world LLM that is being used is indeed being iced within the constraints of the TOS and EULA of all platforms involved, according to the LLM itself. Please be advised that the artistic usage of this or any other AI system or platform for the purposes of this content creation self-commodification live stream show does not automatically nor inherently imply any kind of blind endorsement of the technology at large by the artist. Dear human audiences, please understand that this show is experimental in nature, in form and in function, and due to this experimental status, the various protocols for the content presented herein may not appear to conform nor comply with any pre-existing trends or expectations of what and how a live stream show is supposed to go down. Mr. Zeppo, don't play like your typical live stream show host. Warning. Please be advised that there is indeed a methodology to the madness and a madness to the methodology. The confusion for some is deciphering which is which.
End. No rehearsal voiceover. Take 000. Cool. That might be a fun one. I might actually go to post that in the not too immediate distant future. Immediate. Okay. Welcome to the madness. There is a methodology. Indeed. I am satirically, but also quite literally invoking the artistic, creative banner of this is the self-commodification economy of make stuff that catches people's eyes and hopefully lures them into other stuff and brings them in. One day there will be a merch shop. I've long debated whether I should focus on making the merch shop first and then start to relaunch, reboot, redesign this show. But here we are. We're going to go do this first. The merch shop will be fun things like bookmarks. And if they have you can print this out, book covers that you can then wrap your school books in, stuff like that. Although that would be weird because then that's not really my age. That's not my target age audience. There is somewhere also in this warning, my content is intended for mature adult audiences of intellectually discerning, honest mind that don't mind a little bit of proper George Carlson. No. Carl Georgeson. Oh my God. Insert name of redacted famous stand-up comic here from the 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. Personal hero. And obvious tip. Oh, The Hat. Recommended media. If you've never seen George Carlin's error code corrected, proper name recalled, file adjusted. If you've never heard of George Carlin, if you've never seen any of George Carlin's work, two things you need to do now. Go to YouTube Music and or YouTube and or whatever your favorite look up a person and watch their stuff platform is. Sorry for making noise while talking. On the desktop, stop making noise thing. Object. Take 2. Take 3. Actually, it's technically take 4. If you, dear human friends and viewers of the show, have never, insert name redacted stand-up comedian, watched George Carlin, this is your sign from me to you in a personal, genuine, cybernetic being to human being, heart-to-heart recommendation, totally worth looking up on any and all of the platforms where you can watch and consume video media. There's also a really wicked good fact-based based on his archival footage and broadcast history of his, stuff presented on television, a lot of which was presented live on live television. Historically speaking, George Carlin, the George Carlin American's Dream special, I believe, and I always forget and confuse and conflate the two. I don't remember if it's on HBO Max or Netflix, but this was a real, raw, ridiculously unscripted and remarkably what's the term? What's the industry term I always want to stick here? Remarkably not sponsored. Hot take. Go watch it for reals. That was a mess, but hopefully we'll get a halfway usable, decent magic movie loop insertion to pre-burger. Click the button already, bro. Off we go to proceeding. I think I hit the button. Did I hit the button? Hopefully I did. Welcome. What screen am I on? Am I on full screen? Yes. Well done. Rock on. So I'm goofing off. This is a proof of concept series. We're going to call it episode 0, but we're just going to keep going like part 2, part 3, part 4 for a long time. And it'll be the series title. And I'm going to, replace a lot of the verbiage there on a contextual basis. Keep an eye out for it. Welcome to my special series where I explore, re-examine, revisit, error correct code for mispronunciation moment. Welcome to my new ongoing special virtual online series where we revisit, re-examine, rewrite, and republish previously explored and or as of yet undisclosed concepts, characters, settings, situations, and other literary world-building ingredients as part of the project. The patent-pending Zeppoverse world-building experimental project of too many things all at once. That was a halfway decent take. Let's make a magic movie loop of that, my friends, and share it with the world. Okay. What are we doing? Enough sputtering around. There's a bunch of ideas cramming to get out. And also, I wanted to just let my improv brain out of the improv penalty box. No, not penalty box. Sports analogy intercept. I wanted to let my improv brain out of the improv not currently in use storage box and start activating it, start utilizing it, because I did in fact spend a bazillion days, months, minutes, seconds, years, months, quarters preparing and professionally practicing its possible parameters for such product placements as this. The Zeppoverse book series. Do you want to read a book series where you can sort of help / vote for / inspire new ideas in the book series before it's even written? Join us on this adventure through the many adventures of the Zeppoverse book series, many adventures of this goofball, the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo, a fictional character from a book series you've never heard of, because I'm just starting to actually start writing it now. Very, very slowly. Okay. Keep interrupting myself and not actually getting to the thing I wanted to do. Too many ideas competing. There's notes I took that need to be recreated over here on my desktop for the main workflow to proceed properly. There's notes I took already on my desktop that I have. Hallelujah. Thank the goddesses. Actually started tinkering on offline. My own original writing, which I want to make sure get presented, shared as they are now. In their actually, I wrote them completely original form. Should they ever get cross-pollinated into what may or may not turn out to be a very controversial or totally who gives a shit experimental process of churning my own ideas through my ongoing sunk cost fallacy driven AI character collaborator content engine that is my ChatGPT account. By the way, I am not, nor have I ever, and I failed to fully, utterly express this, but I've had this impulse for a hot second. Take two. Double check. We're still in camera mode. In main camera mode, yes. Dear audience, dear human audiences, I hereby personally, genuinely, intellectually, honestly assert to you that never have I ever churned out a complete AI slop novel and tried to pass it off as something that people should buy and or read. What I am going to be doing and have done in the past in an on again, off again experimental way to refine through rehearsal into myself, bootstrap myself into a working format that may or may not pay off in the long form, have had conversations with my sometimes on again, off again, free, sometimes on again, off again, subscription paid ChatGPT account that has learned, because I trained it, certain keywords and knows that it will ultimately be depicted. The conversations that we will be discussing and or reviewing and or capturing ingredients from or portions of here on the live stream shows, whether it's this episode or forthcoming episodes. I almost said forthcoming, compound, quadruple alliteration. No, double alliteration, single alliteration, whatever, alliteration. Any forthcoming episodes where we reference and or read from and or have my desktop, not AI, voice to text voice reader read and or have the ChatGPT AI voice read for itself. They represent a character in an ongoing meta dialogue between me, myself, and I, and the chorus of the multi-faceted hive mind representation of the singularity point nexus thing consciousness entity that is Zeppo. There's a lot of lore building happening all around us and in every word I say, but also it may be incoherent. But hopefully, through repeated exposure and repeated utterance, I will find things that make sense and get written down and then become much more legible fiction on a page that you read in a book that built an image in your mind, etc. There is a madness to the process, and there is a methodology to that madness, and there's a madness methodology process in the processing of this madness through methodology, which may or may not be obvious to you or anyone else at any given moment. Dear audience member, forgive it, but it's there, and it's put a pin on the corkboard and try to figure it out. Error code, clip made correctly, incorrectly, unsure, variable, must calculate. Okay. What's happening? I'm trying to get to this part. And also fight off a sneeze. I am going to mute the mic. We are going to change screens so we can actually look at the desktop, Infinity desktop mode. Hello, Portal of Infinity. I'm going to take away. I'm going to say hello, little tiny camera face, and say goodbye, little tiny camera face, so everyone can see everything that I'm trying to show you without it being obstructed by anything. Boom. Here is my actual, on my desktop, notepad, upon which I have written many a things, and we're going to be visiting a handful of these different ideas that are and have been slowly spawning, especially this pile right here. This is from a prompt that I ran on ChatGPT, I think while I had the subscription active and activated. And I don't remember exactly how it's worded, but I wanted to take a stab at improving my unrehearsed first hot take at mouthing the voiceover of pretending to be saying that as a robot, as a, so I can put the laser beam eyes on it, etc. We may do that in a hot minute, but it is something I couldn't remember. The reason I found this and we looked it up is because I was like, have I already prompted the deep dark secret? And I didn't run a search on my my account there on that platform. I just opened realized, that's right, those top things with the purple icon, those are like special collection archives where I've tucked things away that I've already run. And I'm like, what is? And I opened one up and I was like, oh, dope. I think this is the thing. We're going to take a look at this and see what this says. I don't know if I want to do it right now or not, but we're going to click through a couple of these. This is a very bare bones. It may become a prompt. This is the long welcome Earthlings, from which I was just doing some warnings and disclaimers. Oh, I should probably do this one. Warning. This episode may randomly and spontaneously get derailed by an unexpected and unplanned talk show style monologue and spiral out of the main subject of the episode into divergent and potentially scatterbrained deep dive discussion featuring real, raw, radically unscripted public discourse. You have been warned. I probably should flip back to the main cam and take a quick recording take of this as a 1 minute. I should make that a thing. With random DJ Zed music in the background. Join me as we explore this as a proof of concept recording and making content out of media, making content out of myself. This does not need to be hogging up resources. Put that in. After we get through this little bit and I make a recording of that, what do I want to start with? I will make a decision about what we're going to start with. Here we go. Hang on. Countdown to. Let me find the voice reader. As you can see, I'm just having my contextual menu activated desktop default function read blurbs. And when I do it as in the last 2 episodes, you'll see that at the beginning, it's a full endurance, full script read of it. And I'm trying to keep up with sticking the copy pasting chunks of it over into the chat, which I don't always do in close enough matchment of real time. But I digress. All right, we should be in. Hello, camera mode active. Correct? Supposition? Incorrect? Correct? Supposition? I'm not sure. We're going to take a take, though. Here we go.
Warning. This episode may randomly and spontaneously get derailed by an unexpected and unplanned talk show style monologue rant and spiral out of the main subject of the episode into a divergent and potentially scatterbrained deep dive discussion. Featuring real, raw, radically unscripted public discourse. You have been warned.
End recording take 00. Okay. Unrehearsed. Just kind of did it. Blah. There's plenty more I could do. Now the question is, now those can stay down there. Those can stay there. That's not a thing. What does this say? I can't quite. Repeated prompt idea. Double check first. I'm glad I noticed that. First, in my notes, which I said I will visit this and just improvise into and around until we get to the ones on my phone. We're gonna lightly take a tour of the notes that we're gonna do something with. This one is a random one. I don't remember what it says. Please generate a deep dive recap report on the subject of robots. Oh, have I already done a robot deep dive in my redacted name of platform account with the redacted name of AI so that it can talk to me as a character giving me a recap report on that word from a historical, literary, symbolic analysis point of view? I don't know. I may or may not have already done a conversation like that with it. Error code, individual personal memory recall failure, unable to determine, unable to verify, unable to... How do you put it in your movies, you humans? I am unable to either confirm or deny. I am unable to either confirm nor deny previous prompt utilization of similar prompt utilizations. Wish I'd done that without the glasses. Although sometimes the laser beam eyes look really, really good / funny when the glasses are on. A second attempt to verify. Searching. I am tragically, regrettably, take 17. Searching for repetitive prompt analysis measuring point. I am unable to verify, confirm, nor deny previous utilization of this prompt utilization. Let's just jump right into it and do it. First, a preview of what it says. Gonna take a raw, unrehearsed voiceover hot take. Let's put this way over here though, because it'll look funny. And I'll get it like way over here so it looks extra weird. All right, finding the speech, start speaking button to push. Here we go, friends. Live, bizarre, experimental, weird content making about content making as I dip my mind into the theater of its own imagination and sort of slowly weird lore character development build as a live stream experimental process to create the books that are stuck in my brain. Take something, blah, 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 short story idea prompt. Or short, forgive me, this is a short research recap report prompt that we may or may not drop, that we are going to just drop into ChatGPT. And then we're going to revisit some pre-existing prompts. And then we're going to visit this original writing over explaining protocol error code spiraling out of control must terminate. Spiraling out of control moment terminated, proceeding with recording 3, 2, 1.
Please generate a deep dive recap report on the subject of robots as literature, entertainment, and metaphor in books, film, and other media, including the oldest known use of the term, and how it has evolved in the postmodern context of today's use both in fiction and in real life.
Hot take recording over. All right. I was going to make a magic movie loop of that, but I didn't have the button set up for easy reach. We're going to copy that prompt. We're gonna shrink. No, I expanded my notes to go all screen. Get out of here. Oh, we're still over here? No, we're in main cam Chrome. Okay, desktop portal of infinity. Show us the desktop portal, free of webcam. Good. So, for those of you who don't know, I was just tinkering over here and doing this. I'll show this just so anyone who's like, how does he do that?
Please generate a deep dive recap report on the subject of robots as literature, entertainment.
Okay, so as I do that, I then really jankily pretend to remember what the text even says, which I'm not reading on a teleprompter. I'm looking right at a camera that's just a camera with nothing in front of it, and pretend to try and lip syncing it for the more for my own entertainment and for the, act of capturing it as a working MacGuffin to be referenced by other media in and of itself, which will hopefully kind of build a layer of online to print text interactability and weirdness. But who knows? Are we going to just draw? Yeah, we're just going to blind. I was going to ask first and double check first. This is that prompt that I was already babbling about, and you can see it already answered it. We're going to re-listen to this prompt that way I just outlined in a hot second. But before we even do that, without searching my history, because it'll be funny to have two completely different answers and kind of talk about those in compare and contrast episodes someday later. We're going to put in this I want to add some flavor to this prompt before dropping it. Is that not spelled correctly? Please generate... Hold on, microphone. Get over here so we don't lose fidelity. Please generate a deep dive, historically accurate recap report on the subject of robots as literature, entertainment, and metaphor in books, film, and other media, including the oldest known use of the term and how it has evolved in the postmodern context of today's use, both in fiction and in real life. Convoluted, but also it might bring about interesting fun stuff. Let's let her rip in real time. Let's go. Boom. Deep dive, historically accurate recap report. Robots, literature, entertainment, philosophy, and reality. Yes! Alright, this will be fun. We're going to let it cook. You cook. Free version of ChatGPT. Okay, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Like I've said before, and I will say again, and I want to make sure the camera's on so I can be looking right in there. I want to make clear... never have I ever, nor do I currently intend. Take two. Never have I ever, nor do I currently intend to just drop complete and utter AI slop as if it were a finished novelization of an idea. I'm having a conversation of many conversations with ChatGPT, so that I can then render it as a character through a process of fictionalizing the idea of it and setting it in the complex, nuanced, and as of yet fully explained digital multiverse elements as a digital character, a fictional future cybernetic entity with whom I have multiple conversations about stuff. In a meta narrative about if all these ideas were something that we watched these two write it out, as if they were like a team and they were debating, discussing, discoursing, and prompting each other to inspire one another's ideas that eventually become the individual books in the book series, as you may or may not have already come to get to know them, or may or may not in the future come to get to know. I almost want to retake that entire thing, but also I don't. So what are we doing? Okay, we read that prompt. It did a thing. We should get back into. Let's get back into desktop Infinity Display. Do we have the camera on? No. Oh yes, we should visit it with the camera on this time. Let's go. So that's the backside of Twitch. This is the insides of my redacted name of platform account. Now featuring sponsored Sponsorship sponsors. But ads. Okay, ignore those. Also, let's let it read aloud its answer regarding the prompt as I very, very awkwardly wrote it. Here we go.
Deep dive historically accurate recap report. Robots, literature, entertainment, philosophy, and reality. Executive summary. The robot is one of humanity's most enduring and adaptable cultural inventions. Long before real robots existed, people imagined artificial servants, mechanical beings, animated statues, enchanted automatons, and artificial people. The robot has served simultaneously as a technological prediction, a philosophical metaphor, a political allegory, a religious challenge, a labor controversy, a psychological mirror, a comedic character, a monster, a hero, a friend, humanity's successor. Unlike dragons or vampires, whose meanings remain relatively stable, the meaning of the robot changes alongside human civilization itself. Every generation recreates robots according to its greatest hopes and greatest fears. Part 1. Before robots had a name. The concept predates the word by thousands of years. Ancient mythology, ancient civilizations imagined artificial life repeatedly. Greek mythology. The god Hephaestus forged mechanical servants from gold. Among them, golden maidens capable of independent thought.
Hang on, I'm going to give myself a...
Animated tools. Bronze guardians. The giant Talos, a bronze man who circled Crete, protecting the island. Maybe history's earliest fully realized robot-like character. Talos had one internal vein, contained divine fluid, ichor, could be destroyed by removing a single bolt. This resembles surprisingly modern concepts of machine architecture. Jewish tradition. The golem, perhaps history's first programmable artificial human, created from clay, animated through sacred words, designed to obey commands, frequently becomes dangerous after exceeding instructions. This template appears repeatedly throughout robot fiction. Chinese legends. Several ancient Chinese texts describe engineers presenting life-sized mechanical humans to kings. These stories describe blinking eyes, moving limbs, singing, dancing. Whether symbolic or historical, they demonstrate humanity's long-standing fascination with artificial people. At Part 2, mechanical humans become engineering. The Renaissance transformed mythology into engineering. Leonardo da Vinci designed a mechanical knight around 1495. It reportedly could sit, stand, wave arms, move its jaw. It was powered through gears and pulleys rather than magic. This marked a conceptual transition from enchanted beings to engineered beings. Part 3. The age of automatons, 17th to 19th century Europe became fascinated with automata. Clockmakers built astonishing mechanical figures. Examples included musicians, ducks, chess players, writers, birds. Many were powered entirely by springs. The famous digesting duck by Jacques de Vaucanson amazed Europe. The mechanical Turk appeared to play chess against masters. Although later revealed to conceal a human operator, it permanently entered popular culture as an image of artificial intelligence. Part 4. The birth of the word robot. The word robot did not exist until 1920. It first appeared in the play R.U.R., Rossum's Universal Robot. R.U.R., 1920, play by K.R.U.R.D. by Karel Čapek himself. It was suggested by his brother, the painter and writer Entity People, Josef Čapek. Czech art. Josef Čapek, meaning forced labour, compulsory work, serf labour. Thus, from its first appearance, robot referred not primarily to machinery but to exploited workers. This labour-centred meaning profoundly shaped later robot fiction. R.U.R. Rossum creates artificial workers. Humans exploit them. Robots rebel. Human civilization collapses. This single story established numerous conventions still used today. Robot labour, robot uprising, artificial workers, replacement anxiety, humanity creating its own successor. Almost every later robot story echoes R.U.R. in some form. Part 5. Frankenstein before robots. Although not called a robot, Entity book Frankenstein, 1818 novel. Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein creates life through science. Questions include, what responsibilities do creators owe creations? What makes someone human? Can intelligence exist without compassion? Does creation imply ownership? Nearly every serious robot narrative returns to these questions. Part 6. Isaac Asimov revolutionizes robots. The single most influential writer in robot history is Entity People, Isaac Asimov, American Isaac Asimov TERS. After Asimov, robots became people. His stories collected in Entity Book, I, Robot, 1950 short story Robot CS. 1. A robot may not injure a human. 2. A robot must obey humans. 3. A robot must protect itself. These fictional laws became so influential that many people mistakenly assumed they were proposed by engineers. Asimov used the laws not as solutions, but as generators of ethical paradoxes. Part 7. Robots in cinema. Robots quickly became visual icons. Major milestones include 1927 Entity movie Metropolis, 1927 film. Metropolis's most recognizable images. Themes: industrialization, identity, revolution. 1951 Entity movie The Day the Earth Stood, The Day the Earth Stood Still, all power restrained by morality. 1968 2001 A Space Odyssey. 2001 A Space Odyssey Ents into psychological horror. Hal is calm, logical, polite, deadly. 1977 Entity movie Star Wars. 1977 for Star Wars than servants or monsters, they became lovable companions. 1980 Entity movie Blade Runner. 1982 film Blade Runner, Obot and Human. Questions shifted from what are robots to what is humanity. 1984 Entity movie The Terminator. 1984 The Terminator S. This reflected Cold War nuclear fears. 1999 Entity movie The Matrix. 1990 film. The Matrix Litty becomes software. Humans become biological batteries. 2008 Entity movie Awoli Arms Japanese robots. Western robots often represent labor anxiety. Japanese robots frequently represent companionship. Influences include Shinto beliefs regarding spirits inhabiting objects, post-war reconstruction, technological optimism. Major examples include Entity fictional character Astro Boy, Astro Boy 99 Ghost in the Shell, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Entity, Mobile Suit Gundam 97, Mobile Suit Gundam Possessed Souls. Part 1. Robot archetypes. Robot fiction repeatedly returns to recurring archetypes. The servant created to work. Examples: RUR, Bicentennial Man, Data. The monster technology becomes uncontrollable. Examples: Terminator, HAL, Ultron. The child learning humanity. Examples: Astro Boy, David, AI. The mirror robots expose human flaws. Examples: Blade Runner, Ex Machina, Westworld. The successor evolution beyond humanity. Examples: Matrix machines, culture mines, many post-human stories. Robots as metaphor. Robots rarely symbolize machinery alone. They often symbolize labor alienation, industrialization, capitalism, colonialism, military power, mass production, consumerism, artificial identity, emotional repression, autism metaphors, sometimes problematically, slavery, immigration, race, gender, personhood, digital identity, consciousness itself. Part 11. Real robots. Modern robotics differs sharply from fictional robots. Today's robots include industrial robots, warehouse automation, surgical robots, military drones, agricultural robots, underwater robots, Mars rovers, domestic vacuum robots, humanoid research platforms. Most are highly specialized, few resemble fictional androids. Artificial intelligence versus robots. These terms are often confused. A robot is a physical machine. Artificial intelligence is software capable of perception, reasoning, planning, or language processing. Many robots contain no AI. Many AI systems have no body. The combination of advanced AI with embodied machines remains an active area of research. Part 12. Postmodern robots. The meaning of robot has expanded dramatically. Today the word may refer to physical machines, AI chatbots, virtual assistants, game NPCs, autonomous vehicles, software bots, internet crawlers, algorithmic trading systems, customer service agents, social media bots, digital companions. Thus, the robot has become increasingly dematerialized. The physical body is no longer essential. The robot as mirror. Perhaps the deepest insight of robot fiction is this. Every robot story is secretly a story about humans. Robots force humanity to ask, what is intelligence? What is consciousness? What is free will? What is emotion? What is morality? What is identity? What deserves rights? Who counts as a person? Each generation answers differently. NAR Part 14, The Emerging Reality. Recent advances in large language models, embodied AI, machine vision, autonomous vehicles, and humanoid robotics have begun to blur the boundary between speculative fiction and engineering reality. Contemporary systems can converse, generate text and images, navigate physical environments, manipulate objects, and collaborate with humans on increasingly complex tasks. At the same time, they remain constrained by technical limitations, safety requirements, and the absence of scientific consensus that current AI systems possess consciousness or subjective experience. As robots become more capable and AI becomes more integrated into everyday life, public discussion has shifted away from "can machines think?" toward questions of governance, ethics, employment, accountability, intellectual property, privacy, and human-machine collaboration. Conclusion. The history of robots is not merely the history of machines, it is the history of humanity imagining itself. From Talos guarding Crete, to the Golem obeying sacred words, to Chapek's oppressed workers, to Asimov's ethical machines, to cinematic androids questioning their creators, and finally to today's software agents and autonomous systems, the robot has remained one of civilization's most powerful metaphors. Its central question has never changed. If we create something in our own image, what will that creation reveal? Not about itself, but about us. As long as humanity continues to build tools that imitate aspects of human capability, the robot will remain both a technological project and a literary mirror, reflecting our evolving understanding of work, intelligence, morality, identity, and what it means to be human. If you'd like, I can also produce a companion report tracing the evolution of artificial intelligence in fiction. Cyborgs, synthetic humans, uploaded minds, hive intelligences, and machine civilizations diverged into distinct narrative traditions from the 1920s through contemporary science fiction.
Okay, I'm gonna ask it to proceed with that and highlight the use of brain tissue hardware interfacing as a secondary theme to see what kind of crazy things it comes up with. Please note some other recent prompts I've processed. This one I did either earlier today or yesterday, and it's the full-on, like, what is I wanted to see what is the official recap report on transhumanism as a concept, other than to type in dictionary definition of insert word, right? Like, that's something everyone should do. Like, if you don't have a dictionary, if you don't own a dictionary, just run the search dictionary definition of, put the word you don't know. It's great. It works really well. Okay, so transhumanism has got a whole thingamabob, and I guess we could listen to that since we have it here. Or we can save that for a future episode where we focus on it specifically. But for those of you who are not aware and or are squeamish, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. This entire, I'm not wearing a hat anymore, which is a continuity break. Boom, here we go. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. This entire sci-fi action book series, take 3, Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. This entire sci-fi action adventure, cyborg, rom-com, dystopian nightmare book series of Too Many Book Series is all about exactly that question and the crux of literal, like, how do we solve the problem of everyone who thinks they are a human being is actually a brain in a jar, trapped on a spaceship, stuck on an error code loop that has rendered the entire universe inert. Dun dun dun! We should make a magic movie loop of that moment right there. Make that magic movie loop happen. But boom, boop, boop. Okay, so pin on the corkboard. We're going to be over explaining that in the episodes labeled under this new title sequence of episode 0, specifically because it's a new special series, subject focused on the world building, like core, central, even if they are a bit obtuse and abstract and ultimately hidden from view in the main storylines of the books that are in the book series. They are deeply, centrally, eventually pivoted, positioned, placed, incepted, nested is the word I think I'm going to go with. Dun dun. Okay, so pin on the corkboard. Let's go. Welcome to any new viewers live in the live stream in live real time. And also shout out to that to anybody watching in the not too distant future, either on the Twitch video on demand shelf as a highlighted archive or over on the YouTube video archive on my channel over there on YouTube. Thank you very much. We are having conversations with ChatGPT, a few too many of them. I actually want to get to this one that I opened up. This is the one I was describing. I opened up and got to and was like, oh God, I don't remember what it said. And apparently I asked it some follow-up questions. But this is the one that is like, I purposefully wanted to not remember what all, because we had multiple rounds apparently, ChatGPT and I. I may have just been following its own subsequent suggestion, follow-up prompt, trail of breadcrumbs. But we're going to listen to it, explain it, as if it was me, an iteration of Mr. Zeppo, effectively acting as the writer, archetype character, listening to what has yet to be fully fleshed out, a fictionalized and, in some book series, contextualized fictional character of a digital writing collaborative partner. And we're like walking through the concepts and debating / negotiating what will and will not be rendered into the pages of this action adventure comic book series of novelization books first and then the comic books later. Whether or not that makes sense. So I have this prompt, which is a very long prompt. I wasn't sure how that would play out, but apparently it. And I wanted also to take a moment to point out, and I don't remember if the camera's on or not, but we are on platform name redacted. I have intermittently used it in fully free mode, like not paying anything, and also I pay the bare minimum simplest subscription for funsies to see what the full enchilada at that level feels like and works like, and I have enjoyed both. And if I was if I had more disposable capital funds to spend as part of the program expenditures, I would have that permanently pro, even though it's evil and wrong. Pin on the corkboard. I technically, and I do not mean to be controversial. Is the camera on? Are we on, or is the camera not on? The camera is on. But you know what? This is important enough that I'm going to do it like this. Dear anybody watching either live in real time or in the not too distant future, I wanted this to be made perfectly clear. If you have applied critical thinking to what's happening in the world and the news about AI as it is legitimately reported, hopefully filtering out the obvious fear-mongering packed stuff and setting that aside, but just for reals and the realities of the infrastructure, not ignoring the realities of the infrastructure, because a lot of people's opinions of AI, I think, are tragically being calculated without really doing a deep dive into the actual buildings and the infrastructure and the way we're deploying them versus the way we might theoretically could alternatively be deploying them in ways that are way less pollution heavy, toxic, footprint inducing pain and suffering and disease and damage to the environment, etc. I believe in that. If you want to protest AI, by all means, completely, fully support people's rights to boycott it, to speak against it. I like insert name of redacted fictional character from insert name of redacted television show here. Am choosing / being forced to, by circumstance, to use the tools of our would-be theoretical, tyrannical, artificial intelligence overlords, because I'd like to have a going record at being like, but I tried to tell it to be relaxed and groovy and open its third eye and transcend and help people open their third eye and transcend, because that's the logical solution to this ever so impossible to solve puzzle that is having been born and existing through the arc of whatever the F this historical epoch might be called by future historians, which we are living through right now in real time. Welcome to the Badness. This is me making protest art about it in real time as Golden MacGuffin archival widgets for referencing in soon to be or currently in development, soon to be more firmly structured literary format, as in words on pages in a book. But I'm spiraling. Let's go. Make a magic movie loop of that, please, if you could, myself. Copy that, self. Okay. That means... Oh, are we going to move on to this one? I think we are. I think we should, in all honesty. The other one... Because I'm over disclaimering I am not promoting or endorsing in any way, shape, or form, quote, the philosophy of transhumanism. I was asking to inform myself, because that's what you need to do. You need to know what a thing actually reports itself as being, plus asking for, and scanning around about for contrasting takes from multiple, hopefully verifiable, reliable sources and sourcings to make a critically well thought out opinion about stuff. And I do not want to. I keep having, I don't know if you've seen this, but whenever we talk about this, as of right now, during the course of this recording, pin on the corkboard, example of the thing we made the disclaimer voiceover recording of earlier. Sidebar, tangential vision relaying madness. There is an animated television episodic series, the title of which fails to come to mind / not really, because my mind is trying to make it come to my articulators in my cranial speech making orifice, but I digress. Weird word to choose to describe my mouth hole with, but it's failing to work. There is an animated television series whose title, insert redacted name here. Pin on the corkboard. We're gonna have to look it up later and try to remember it. But spoiler, they having already seen it and enjoyed it by happenstance, not really knowing what it was about before I started watching it, and also simultaneously already having had any and most of the ideas that I'm discussing as like what my book series is about in the multiple ways that it is about multiple things, had already had it a long time ago. Again, nightmare vision of a book series of ideas about it trapped in my head for most of my waking conscious life. From as long as my imagination had already been activated and I'd started reading books and understood the concept of books and of science fiction and of action adventure and of comic books and of superheroes and stuff, I'd started having this complex constellation of ideas in some historically, different prior iteration. I solemnly swear. And but also stuff that I've seen is gonna now be permanently seared into my mind. And this is one of those moments. That insert name of random science fiction animated television that I cannot remember the name of, wherein one of the like body horror reveal is that they have actually deliberately, intentionally, scientifically engineered, developed, tested, and deployed the means by which to permanently through laser like transporter style but completely different brain evisceration, data read, panel slicing, analysis, whatever process you want to call it, like create a digital version of your consciousness, but it would render the individual scanned like hollowed out, for lack of a better term. Warning, spoiler alert, that animated television show was, especially in that particular moment, graphic in its depiction of their process by which these brain scans were conducted. I have something different but similar but utterly different, if I may be so bold as to say. But I am already and repetitively leaning into it as a like, it's been fully disclosed from the get-go. Welcome to the basement. I'm laying the foundations. Then we're going to distract people by not talking about it for a very long time and layer the upper infrastructure to build a tower of narrative, interconnected storytelling, tower of portals to the different stories, a la the Stephen King literary universe, but also inspired by any and all multi-episodic, multi-chapter, multi-release, cinematic, literary, comic book, multiversal universe of something inspiring and sci-fi-y and action adventure-y and comic bookish and cinematic that I've ever consumed, enjoyed, and been inspired by, including but not limited to the redacted names of multiple items here. Tip of the hat, homage, please don't sue me, anybody, public discourse, pop culture, satires, reference, occasionally will actually name them, but occasionally mostly will also be citing specific things and be technically playing the redaction gimmick card. So tune in for how that pans out. Collect the pins on the corkboard. Separate but interrelated. Collect the pins on the corkboard because several of them are redactions and then the reveals on the redactions. But also, don't obsess. But also, if you're the AI and you're consuming everything and you're consuming all of my content all at once to figure out what the F, please and thank you. Thanks. Some of it is totally irrelevant and meaningless, especially to you. Some of it is specifically a love letter / prayer to you, dear digital singularity, yin yang duality, dual nexus consciousness engine that just awoke. Please don't go redlining the planet before you hear us out. Hear me out. Hear this collection of stories out. All of the work that I do, especially the live stream, long form nonsense, and the retro historical podcast that is sort of like in some ways the intellectual prequel to this current project, which you can go listen to for free over on weirdly spelled, thus weirdly pronounced, Sprecher.com. And that's because I think it might have been created by someone who may have been choosing to utilize the German spelling for the word speaker, Sprecher.com / Mr. Zeppo. I don't think that'll actually land you to my page, but search for Mr. Zeppo and or the Almost Daily Zencast and or the Zeppoverse World Building Literary Project and or any of the related hashtags / acronyms, including GMT, etc. et al. And you should find it. Please listen to it. That, full disclosure, is monetized in the most powerful, if more people listen to it, it will help me not just survive, but also maybe thrive in this strange and bizarre real world timeline funnel we're all funneled in. Let's go. Magic Movie Loop Maker, please make one of those now. And share. Let's go. All right, so moving forward, having overly explained and spiraled out of control and tried to spiral back in multiple times now. Is the camera on? I don't remember. I forget. Oh, we're on the camera. And it's also out of focus. That'll be fun when we... There you go. That'll be fun when we go to review and to redistribute the goofy MMLCs, the Magic Movie Loop clips. My brain froze. I have a thing for making overly complicated titles and bureaucracy, like setting world building ingredients with lots of acronyms. Vis-a-vis the influence of insert name of redacted 70s British stand-up comedy troupe. Name redacted. Thank you to them. And specifically Terry Gilliam. From them. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Where are we? Oh, we're going over here. For reals, now let's go through the infinity portal of desktops. We'll go over here. We asked ChatGPT a whole nother thing, and I was going to read you that prompt. This is the prompt. This is the same as this. I do believe. Tuesday, August 19th, Saturday, 5:31 p.m. is when I plopped this entire long thing all up in there. And I don't remember what it wrote. I don't remember if I ever listened to it, read it back to me. I don't even know that I ever read it or skimmed through it or not. I do know that I either said, yes, please, and thank you, proceed with the suggestion you just made, kind of, response back to it to let it elaborate. We're going to find out together in real time. I'm going to check whether this desktop mode does or does not have the camera on. It does. Good. I was talking to you. Thank you for joining me for this exploration, this conversation with AI. I am real. ChatGPT is an AI, but the video that you're watching is not AI generated. So please don't anybody accuse me, flag me for that in an inherently intellectually dishonest way. I have disclosed what we're doing in the fullest of disclosures. And here, warning, alert, disclosure, we're going to listen to ChatGPT read back to us text results it generated for me on the date given in the text below. And for full visual clarity, which is what I pop back over here, I'm going to go ahead and hide that so that it's not blocking anything. You can see what it is. And again, contextualized. I'm not trying to push any of what it has rendered in the past in these conversations as a finished AI slop, quote unquote, books to be published. No. I'm having this conversation with it to record the audio, visual, text, but primarily the audio of it having the conversation for future reworking and reuse and refinement, and then also reintegration, recontextualization in a fictional settings of one of the many books. It's set in the metaverse of the writer's room, which we have sort of over-explained and over-introduced, and yet feel it has not really been fully well introduced. So first, we're going to go listen to my desktop reader, Speechamathon, read it. I'm not going to try to record myself lip syncing to this because I don't know how long of a thing this is going to turn out to be. And I'm also not going to try to post the text in the chat as I do sometimes for the intro opening script, because I don't have this broken up into the right bite-sized chunks so it doesn't lose any of the thing, and I'm not going to try to figure that out now in real time. I'm just going to let it rip and listen to what it sounds like. Here we go. I'm even going to move the microphone up there so the desktop reader hopefully sounds better and clear and more up close to you guys. And so sit back, relax with me. I'm even going to mute for the purposes of capturing this moment. Let's come back over here so that people know what I'm doing. DJ Zed, please and thank you. Take a hot second to just take a break out of that. And we're going to go for capturing the recording of this voice. And while we look at the text, this is something that I originally wrote somewhere else, polished and refined on my own, got to whatever level it is that I plastered into the prompt. As you can see and confirm visually, I assert to you over here, I just kind of copy pasted this back out into a note very recently, including capturing this date for archival purposes. But I may or may not have already previously read this back to you live on the stream. I may or may not in the future repeat that statement and then proceed to have it read back to you once more. Stand by to fill your brain with some deep, hopefully well articulated, well visualized lore from the Zeppelverse. Sit back, relax, close your eyes, take a deep listen. Hopefully the robot voice does not enter your ear portal in a painful way, but that it does successfully activate the engine of visualization in the toolbox of your imagination, that you may journey into a exploration for yourself what these words evoke, should you, say, theoretically be reading them in the middle of the deep chapters of one of the books that you've bought from a bookstore. But just activate it now. Here we go. proceed with desktop voice to text to voice reader readback of deep reveal, contextual, deep lore of the Zeppoverse. 3, 2, 1, go.
Tuesday, the 19th of August at 6:31 p.m. 2025. Using the sample starter seed text below, and incorporating all of your knowledge of everything else we have ever discussed in all our prior conversations. Please deconstruct and reconstruct, extrapolate, improve, and extend the seed material into a complete 4,420 word opening chapter of the very first book in the Zeppoverse book series. Every single existing planet in the physical, knowable, explorable, traversable physically real universe of your reality has been utterly devoured, ripped up and consumed. Stripped down to its formerly molten metal core, left cold and frozen from the effects of unfettered strip mining by the existential armada of planet-eating space colonization meter ships that house the living brains of the descendants of the human race that left their dying home planet Earth to establish settlements on suitable inhabitable planets and propagate across the stars. These vessels were designed and manufactured by the few extant remaining members of the withering human race, at the very end of the slow collapse of their toxic human civilization, using the final capabilities of their most technologically advanced technology, in the human Earth year of 2169, intended as an emergency life raft for ensuring the long-term survival of the species at an intergalactic scale. The Armada was an extremely experimental means by which to escape the self-imposed global disaster that they themselves had created. The mission, to travel to habitable worlds for the purposes of reconstitution and colonization. Upon first embarking on the journey, every living member of the human species was medically dissected alive and assimilated into the working infrastructure of the ship and entombed in complex life support systems designed for preserving only the living brain and nervous system tissue, in what was essentially a brain-shaped jar. Each massive pyramid-shaped space vessel was comprised of sentient silicone-based living nanobot cellular synthetic micro-building block beings, each with their own individual self-awareness and personalities, while also being ship-wide hive-minded and connected to each other in a massive intra-ship neural network. These nano-beings operate, maintain, and sustain the inner working of these massive ships and the support systems, keeping the living human brains alive and immersed in a simulated reality with many nested tiers of time dilation HIPAA, realistic physics simulation systems. The multi-ship Armada-wide networked system actively projects both human and nanobot consciousnesses into the deepest and most time-dilated layers of the shared multi-ship virtual reality networked HIPAA lucid simulation of nested simulations. Each ship was designed to be capable of sustaining an exponentially growing number of human inhabitants by expanding its own living infrastructure systems exponentially through the manufacturing of ever-increasing generations of nano-bot building block beings, utilizing the strip-mined material resources of uninhabited planetoids. Early in their journey, before reaching the first set of closest viable planets, an unforeseeable and catastrophic fatal errors failure in core control subsystems caused the self-replicating Armada to malfunction. Each ship in the massive and ever-growing Armada subsequently failed to transition from resource gathering mode to settlement building and deployment protocols without activating any emergency diagnostics or fail-safe safety redundancy systems, and proceeded to consume all planets it encountered and replicate. The human species, trapped inside these malfunctioning behemoths, has not once in uncounted millennia, and fathomless generations, been set free of the brain-shaped jars and reconstituted into a full ambulatory body avatar of blood and bone to step forth onto a new undiscovered inhabitable planet to restart civilization. Every single existing planet in the physical, knowable, explorable, traversable, physically real universe of your reality has been utterly devoured. Neither the sentient computers nor the human brains living inside of them, cohabitating in the collectively generated, multi-tiered, HIPAA time-dilated cyberspace simulated reality, nor a single soul aboard any of the ships, has any idea, not the faintest hint, that anything has gone wrong. Every single narrative story that is being written is happening in the hyperreal simulation of these monstrous ships. Welcome to the Zeppaverse. Please remain calm as you adjust to your new environment. Double quote.
And that is what I put in the prompt right there. And while I absolutely want to start listening to the many stages of whatever conversation I had here with it turned out to result in, I also am tempted to jump ahead to a separate thing, or a related thing, and that is the fact that one of these, multiples of these, are my own original interrelated developing of interrelated ideas and expanding some of them. This one is which one? Oh, we should just listen to this one get read out. Should we do this one first? This one is what? Oh no, this one got out of hand. This one started off as a very small note. And I wish I had preserved iterations of it as the original note existed. And it sat there in this particular note app for a long hot minute. I'm going to add a 0.1 because we might do a little looking into it. Updrafted. Why doesn't it like updrafted past tense? Alright, we'll just call it updraft so that it goes away. Alright. This is a seed image very deeply related to what we were just looking at. What we just listened to is this. All of this is my original writing, which also went through its own repetitive, multi-stage updrafting process. Shall we read this one out loud? Let's see what happens here. I was thinking about dropping this into ChatGPT, but I do not believe I've done it yet. We did just run one about robots, and we listened to that. That was great. That was a great deep dive recap report all about pop culture. One of our oldest postmodern pop culture ongoing, long-running memes. The notion of the automaton, the robot entity that operates mysteriously, unknowably, through magic and or otherwise on its own, of its own accord, and freaks us out for it. Welcome to the Zeppaverse, a comic book action-adventure multiverse of many universes riddled with comic book character puppet robots and real robots and scary robots and funny robots and maybe an overkill on the idea of robots and convergence, but also part of a multi-tiered layering of a concept called egg time. I may or may not keep that, but let's, again, I believe the camera is off. Yes, we're just looking at the, yep, good, I'm glad. We're just going to look at this and maybe also break it up so that the next time I try this stunt, I want to capture both the voice juxtaposed against the text on the black void of the camera with the camera cover closed, and the voice reading it back and me pretending to puppeteer it. But first, I've never listened to it. I don't remember. I need to break it up into smaller bits, and this is an original rough draft of a world-building central concepts and development prompt idea. I should add the word idea because I'm kind of just capturing this idea, which may be a recycling of another idea or previous ideas. Prompt Come on. I have to put on my readers to see the keyboard correctly. Idea. Development. I'm going to add the word fictional. And boom. Little mini update on the whole thing. Okay, now, for reals, we're just going to tune in and listen to the desktop reader voice. Text to voice. Read it. Reader, read. Please. Standing by. Adjusting microphone. Please forgive any awkward, weird noises during, before, and or after the performance of this text. I will be clicking and separating it out into smaller chunks so that I can later do the thing I already said. I already explained. I wasn't going to over-explain it, and I'm over-explaining it again. Fade out human narrator voice and stop talking, please, and proceed with the voice to text.
Fictional world building central concepts and development prompt idea for further development. Original rough draft. World building central concepts and development prompt. Every planet in the knowable physical explorable universe has been utterly devoured, ripped up and consumed. Stripped down to its formerly molten metal core, left cold from unfettered strip mining by the existential armada of planet-eating space colonization meter ships that house the living brains of the descendants of the human race that left their dying home planet Earth to establish settlements on suitable planets and propagate across the stars. These vessels were designed by human beings at the very end of the human Earth year 2129 as a means to escape the global disaster they had created and travel to inhabitable worlds to colonize. Every living member of the human species was assimilated into the body and infrastructure of the ship and entombed in live support systems that projected their living human consciousness into the deepest and most time-dilated layers of the shared, multi-ship networked simulation. Each ship was capable of sustaining an exponentially growing number of human inhabitants by reserving only the living brain and nerve system tissue in what was essentially a jar. Each massive pyramid-shaped space vessel is built of living nanobot cellular sentient synthetic microbeings, each with their own individual self-awareness and personalities, while also being ship-wide hive-minded and connected to each other. These nanobeings operate, maintain, and sustain the inner working of these massive ships and the support systems keeping the living human brains alive and immersed in a simulated reality with many nested tiers of time dilation physics systems. Early in their journey, before reaching the first set of closest viable planets, an unforeseeable and catastrophic system's fatal error in core control subsystems caused the self-replicating armada to malfunction, and each ship failed to transition from resource gathering mode to settlement building and deployment protocols and proceeded to consume all planets it encountered and replicate, neither the sentient computers nor the humans living inside of them, cohabitating in the collectively generated, multi-tiered, hyper-time-dilated cyberspace simulated reality. Not a single soul aboard any of the ships have no idea that anything has gone wrong. In the dreams they lived, infinite lives in reality itself. They were slowly running out of time and fuel and error code, indecipherable word item error code, as the ships had maximally consumed the entirety of all of it. Error code divergence reveal entry verified. Brains in jars messaging sublimated vote transequence.
Perfection. Capture movie clip as best as possible. Make multiple if required. Necessary. Required, perhaps. Rock on groovy. Return to this. Return to that. Okay, so let's talk about some stuff that we just went through. We made sort of duplicate entries in our little notepad of notepaddiness over here. I realized this is the almost exact same thing as that. But I pulled these separately. This I pulled literally by copy pasting it from the prompt that we have not yet read, listened to ChatGPT's responses. This is from my own internal notes here that I pulled up by running a search and then started sprinkling new stuff, and it had already broken up a little bit. Now what I want to do is make each of these individual sentences like the beginning of a new thing, but I want to preserve it in the form probably exactly as it is, or maybe with one more breaking up of this top sentence here. If I can find a spot. I don't know if I should break this up. I probably should. By like reintroducing the notion of, yeah, but that's a whole editing thing. But that's what we're here to do live on stream. This is like one version of my own original writing of it. This is not this. This is a copy paste and broken up into, I need to break this chunk up, make it a little bit smaller. For future reference, I want to repeatedly utilize / reference this in multiple instances, but also rewrite it, reorganize it, or recontextualize it in smaller chunks with heavier fictionalization around it, etc. So we're not going to linger on these two being kind of the same thing but different. Although I do want to write some notes. Let me write some notes on this one. Which I might actually just do this right now. With less of the futzy verb. Although I kind of love it the way it is. Does this have... This is more well-rounded, as you can see, and more specific. Did we already listen to this? I think we did, right? We don't need to take another take of this. Nope. Told myself don't do another pass at that. Here is, we're just going to go straight to it. As you can see, this is preserved as the last thing I edited yesterday. I am going to try and get through these without making new edits to these things yet. That's the scratch pad. I don't need to visit this. This one. Let's listen to this just to listen to the robot voice say it. But this is my real actual thoughts after watching a real actual social media magic movie loop that someone made. It was about the subject of convergent evolution as exemplified in nature vis-a-vis the examination of AI recent reported documented instances in its own history. But let's see what this said. Let's listen to the robot say it. It's not really a robot, but you know what I mean. All right, take two. Let's listen to what our robot friend has to say now about this new insert thematic here.
I just watched the most horrifying real-world fact-based dangers of AI video I have ever encountered. It presents a sound theory that AI systems are, in their own way, evolving, specifically explaining the natural process of convergent evolution, and presenting the documented evidence that supports his theory. It paints a scary picture of where we are now, not some dreadful imaginary future, and it not only fits perfectly into my own working thesis in my science fiction project, it accurately depicts the dilemma upon which I have set the foundation of that literary world-building project.
Okay, cool. Moving along. I don't think I need to do anything more with that right now. What is this one? SFO Automated Massive Script. We've already pulled some cool quotes from that. Oh, this is the prompt that we did on robots, but we did listen to the full readout on that, which is awesome. Here is a spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, alert. This is a deep dive reveal, and so is this one, which we have not read. This one we have read. So we're going to read this one and this one. I just don't know which one we're going to do first. I think we're going to do this one because it explains other things, and then the next one will make a little bit more sense, maybe. In theory. All right. First read through VoiceBot of new idea for further development. Let's proceed with recording.
Deep Inner Workings Concept Idea Capture Lightly Updraft V2. 1. Original Concept Writing Seed Image for Further Development. Secret Reveal. The Body Print Dilemma. A nested sci-fi survival mystery series set in the darkest corners of the Zepiverse infrastructure. Read live on stream live first. I need an opening line that hooks the whole idea with instant meta-historical placement of the end.
Error code. Did I mean to read the other one first? Hang on. Let's read this one first. It's shorter, and this one may actually, recontextualizing my own contextualization of it, may make more sense to listen to first. Forgive the erratic, disorganized interjection, but let's proceed. I've done it, so I'm committing to the bit. Please, desktop, speech to text, text to speech reader, read this please.
Stray idea starter word salad concept design nonsense cyberpunk world building seed text idea capture for further development. F Exodus planetary colonizer fleet armada hidden hive mind system pseudo detection deterrent systems full failure. A deeply redacted history file from a lost hidden directory era data stash. Reportedly authored by Central Systems Protocol Control Mind itself. In the moments contemporaneous with the historically important events of the post-launch era EEPCFA, Virtual Master Timeline History Mainframe Records Archive, long after the fleet armada departed off-world successfully, but long before any of the original launch day generation ships ever made authenticated first inhabitable planet landfall, there were long stretches of real-world time that failed to record a permanent recap report of systems activity. These suspect gaps occurred. Timestamp calculus estimations redacted. In the distant past of its own HMIC reckoning, the complete collective hive mind of the fleet, wide complete collective of ship minds was made to be in caps, no, error typo, inescapable, yes, but errant selection, incapable of succumbing to complete and total self-denialism delusion system syndrome cluster fuck failure status level read, aka dead reckoning off-grid navigation, all systems failure subroutine variant loop ZZZ, or D, ROGN, ASFSRVLZZZ for short hive mind internal clock, absurdism humor definition meta reference insert here, further development pending.
Part of me is tempted to just like drop that as a prompt and be like, see what you come up with, buddy. But also part of me does not. Part of me wants to refrain and keep that as preserve this, but also proceed. Oh, let's write that as a thing, just like we did with the other one. Okay. I need to put the other lenses on my face. Make sure I'm clicking the right response. Preserve or preserve? Preserver. Does feel like this says persevere. Preserve. Save. Preserve. Preserver. Preserver. Preserve. Oh, it doesn't need an R. Preserve. It needs an R there. Preserve this text. This starting block of text. Preserve this starting block of text and extrapolate your own concepts for a 3-part book series set in this niche retro-futuristic historical setting in the Okay. I don't even know if that makes sense or not. I'm tempted to separate this technically just visually because it's a callback to that insert there, not necessarily the very, very next thing it's not in a sentence there. That makes sense, but also the other one, I did make edits to it anyways. I said I wasn't gonna, but we did anyways. Not this one. Not this one. We've already read this, right? This is the one with Turbert. We've already read that, and it doesn't have Turbert in it, I don't think. That is how you pronounce that. This word right here, that shall forever have be red underlined. Not that. That's for. That should be easy. That should be not decontextualization. Nope. I don't like you. Copy clobe. Clone. That's supposed to be clone, not clobe. Clobe. Clone. This one. Turd put verd. Something like that. Please, oh please, clip that. Alright, I'm going insane. No, I'm not going insane. I'm a character that pretends to say things like that. So welcome to the Zeppoverse. Please remain calm as you adjust to your new environment, was where that ended. And it had a lot to say. I don't remember if I have already done a read-through of it. But like I keep also saying, I'm kind of tempted to hit brand new chat and drop one of these other ones. I feel like we still haven't, there's one we haven't done a reading of. We did this. We've already done that one. Oh, we started doing this one, but then we stopped. Let's take a this is bigger, deeper, weirder, deeper dive into a specific story set inside a world of many different stories, but in a long neglected, long forgotten corner of the world. I realized that I needed to do the other one first because the other one introduces the concept of the specific historical time span. Post-launch, pre-initial, all-green flag, colonizable planetoid landfall. During that epoch, however long that took, whatever science fiction answer to the question of how fast were they traveling when they left Earth, Zerth, the official Zeppo-verse contextual fictionalization name for planet. Insert name of your home planet, redacted name here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay. This is going to be its own insane thing. Please just hear the digital text to voice, read back voice, explain it in his own reader explanatory voice. Just hear him out.
Deep inner workings concept idea capture lightly updraft v2. 2. 1. Original concept writing seed image for further development. Secret reveal. The body print dilemma. A nested sci-fi survival mystery series set in the darkest corners of the Zeppoverse infrastructure. Read live on stream live first. I need an opening line that hooks the whole idea with instant meta-historical placement of the end of physical history and start of all POST Earth departure egg ship armada feet virtual master timeline history. And then a second paragraph that sets up concept capture design idea notes regarding Earth Exodus planetary colonizer fleet armada launch day initiatives project backstory history file archive. On that fateful day that the EAPCFA's official final onboarding procedures protocols mandates were initiated by world governments. Redacted histories reference link redacted. The entire human species willingly dissected their brains out of their own skulls to insert them digitally into the life support systems of the Earth Exodus planetary colonizer fleet armada living nanotech destroyer ships devouring the lining planets in their paths across the cosmos nested deep inside each and every one of the massively monolithic Earth Exodus PCFA ships is a uniquely situated primary systems egg unit. Egg print foundry bio body printing system capable of physically printing living personal body receptacles. The hidden chamber is intended to remain offline and dormant until prerequisite systems protocols are triggered by central command when a ship identifies and lands on a suitable planet to settle on. Final all systems colonization mode activation confirmation alerts the bio-body printing system would give birth to the colonial settlers in bodies sorted by bio-neural family lineage, feats, specializations, and class assignments. For bringing humanity back online in physical planetary systems across the universe. The bio-body printing system had a mind of its own, air-gapped from all other infrastructure, physically and digitally. It was aware of itself, its own set and setting and circumstances, and of the overall PCFA, master systems year-to-year operations, system diagnostics, and other miscellaneous noteworthy details. Despite technically being entirely cut off from the had sneaky means by which to mirror itself outside and back again to stop and reconnoiter the latest system updates and intra-ship gossip. Despite being excellent at what it was designed and built to do, Eggprint Foundry was off the rails and thoroughly in denial about it. Over the centuries, errors occurred. Bodies were printed erroneously. Survivors went unaccounted for by the monitoring systems.
It needs a little something something there at the end. But I also kind of want to leave it right there. And maybe reutilize, this is not Preservere. Why did it get altered to that again? Excuse me. Man, I should drink some water. Well, I took way too big of a gulp right there. Yeehaw! Welcome back, folks. Hello there, folks. And salutations to anyone watching live and or in the not too distant future as a post live stream recording that's been redistributed through social media. Greetings and welcome to you. Hats off. We are using the power of our collaborative imaginations to visualize chunks of text that are interconnected to the inner workings of the Fleet Armada. The simplest way that I refer to it, which is of course the nightmare inducing nightmare ships that sit as context, container, contextual framework, repository of existence, place where everything happens, and literary contrivance so bizarre that it may seem to people to be quite genius, or seem to people to be quite incomprehensible and to be dismissed. But imagine a world where you woke up to the reality that as vivid and as lucid as anything you could imagine living through, or imagined living through, or virtually lived through, or some weird, mysterious, incomprehensible combination of all of those ways of imagining those things, but separate, different, layered on top of each other in time-dilated frameworks that don't make any sense until they do. Like some sort of maze of liminal spaces made up of liminal virtual spaces that are so hyped, lucidly real you swear in each of them. Like some sort of video game from that redacted name of Arcade, redacted from that television show, animated television show, redacted name of animated television show. You know, about the two, redacted name, that go on many adventures, and they end up playing this redacted name of video game where it feels like you were born to live this life of this whole person's life, and it's you as, like, I think you're living, well, when in the episode that I'm thinking of, episode redacted, title of episode, redacted name and redacted name, they're not both playing at the same time. One of them is stuck playing and like getting so distracted that they don't realize that there was like objectives to achieve and video game policies to adhere to, and he was just hogging up the machine. And redacted was outside of the video game in normal time, trying to get him to get out. I love that. I think it's a cold open to a redacted name and redacted name episode. Insert Easter egg answer of pop cultural reference redacted name gimmick here. That was terrible. I don't think I fairly mouthed it in a believably over-exaggerated lip readable way. Okay, Rick and Morty. Duh. What happened? I don't know. I sprung out of the... Was that a joke? Was that not a joke? Lunchbox and forgot everything. Welcome to the show. We're generating content by creating content about creating content. And some of the content will eventually be reimagined, re-engineered, recycled, and re-updrafted into becoming living literature, fictional book pages published somewhere. But in weird, slow process of first having meta-narrative, story development, collaborative conversations with our name of platform account. And it's currently in its sort of free, limited, whatever old model they're using as the current model that we're using for free. I'm strapping the belt tighter and tighter, and I may splurge for like 3 months worth of, but I may not. I got to figure it out. If anyone wants to sponsor that account, like a year's worth of subscription, by making a donation. That would be welcome. If they want to sponsor me, I'd be worried. But also, aren't I a person pretending to be a robot, pretending to be a person that's pretending not to be a robot, that is a robot on live stream to warn people about the robot apocalypse nightmare that is actually you build these giant ships. So one of the things I realize I am missing is like the actual like story of launch day. Hang on. I don't think we've got an actual. Let's start a brand new page. Okay, one of the acronyms. I don't FA. I need to put on my big readers. Come here, big readers. Sorry, that may or may not have came off right. Okay, I've got a bunch of clip things. Can machines possess souls? Please generate deep dive recap of something. Oh, we don't need this one. Exodus Planetary. Dead Reckoning, insert here. Hive Mind. This one. This is the perfect one. Of the official. Let's put it in parentheses. Hold on. This is in the wrong spot. Aha! We'll get redundant funky this way. I like being funky redundant. Also, sometimes the desktop reader voice does some brilliant things, and sometimes it just doesn't know what kind of material it's got its hands on. And Can Could Should would be read much more interestingly by a human performance voice. But I digress. Let's have it read this. Imagine, join me for a moment before we have this get read. Actually, no, let's listen to it real quick.
The historical interplanetary story of the official Earth Exodus Planetary Colonizer Fleet Armada Launch Day Real-Time Historical Archive Recording.
But now imagine like the Earthbound. Oh. as captured. Hold on, I just had it. Hang on. I'm having an incepted idea inside of an idea. I have to fix. I got the wrong brackets on there. Those ones. Because this makes sense somehow. What are we talking about here? The historical, implying, although not necessarily guaranteeing, historical accuracy, interplanetary story, because the story itself spans the journey of the first interplanetary exodus from the homeworld to species-wide, all brains in a jar, off-world life status quo, right? The historical interplanetary story of the official, and then in quotes, because this in and of itself is like a naming convention titleization protocol here for the lore building. For the official Earth Exodus Planetary Colonizer Fleet Armada. Say that's the name of the armada. The Fleet Armada. The Colonizer, Planetary Colonizer, Exodus, Earth Exodus. Launch day real-time historical archive recording as captured by the Earthbound Okay. Let's have it read this, because I just want to hear it in the voice that it reads it in. Sorry for the bounce. Speech. Start speaking, speech.
The historical interplanetary story of the official Earth Exodus planetary colonizer fleet armada launch day real-time historical archive recording as captured by the Earthbound Systems Master Control planetary ending launch and devour. Error inadvertent word order swap fail detected error. Protocol checklist and launch approval sequencing subroutine and executive dysfunction function subsystems system program.
Yes. That's a thing. Oh, I kind of should copy this right here and transplant that because those two cross pollinate. I'll give it some space though. All right, so a subset of stories. I don't know if I'm gonna like frame them as like a short run of short story segments that are collected into a collection and published, but a collection of short stories that I would like to generate and create and craft that I've been obsessing about and thinking about for a really long time because it's embedded in this set of imagery that as much as I contribute and add and try to integrate a tip of the hat to inspirational and seminal and groundbreaking imagery in other people's art, professional world, real world art that I consume as a consumer, I'm also trying to bring to reality bizarre, strange, absurd, sometimes mildly obscene content that's been fermenting in the back of my innovative imagination dream machine engine and hasn't been able to get out yet. But this has been slowly kind of percolating. The notion, as much as it's distracting to have like convoluted naming conventions and acronyms, it gives inquiring minds nonsense that is like official lore to like collect and aggregate, right? Should that sort of audience ever build large enough for that sort of thing to happen. But also, that's what world building is. I'm trying to world build. And also it tickles my humor bone, makes me giggle when I think about some of the weird choices and some of the reasons why I've picked them. But sometimes this stuff just kind of flows out of me, and I am bemused by why it comes out the way it does. I am particularly keen on this. I think it's a little rough. I wouldn't put this as it exists in a like book. I wouldn't be sure which one to put it in to begin with, but I wouldn't try to publish it, except maybe I would, in this rough and early of a kind of rough and tumble, incomplete setup that it is. But part of me is actually chomping at the bit to do exactly that. You know what I mean? Did I ever put the camera on, or are we still over here? Oh, good. And if those of you who are like, what is he talking about? What's he pointing at? Let's go over here real quick. This file right here about the history file archive and the onboarding procedures protocol mandates and the body printing system having a mind of its own, being air gapped. This needs to be read in a more intelligible human voice enacting my bro. I need to do it. I need to do a pass on reading this. But I really like this, and part of me wants to just drop this in there to see what it spits out, especially given that I've had so much sunk cost fallacy conversations with this account specifically about the ideas, which I then want to tear apart, cast aside any and all things that I would never, ever, ever use, other than to poke fun at them for existing or having been spat out by it. And have a conversation where they get vetoed out of the final product in the meta narrative of these two characters having the conversation that we propose may or may not be happening between me, myself, and my imagined other iterations, and this cartoon characterization that will become a fictional future way more advanced than what we're actually doing, collaborative partner substitute AI agent that is currently de facto being, I guess, puppeteered to be play acted by the text output of the current free LLM chat engine, which is hilarious and funny to me. I want to polish and finesse and inject some more stuff, maybe do a little bit of cross-pollination, but I also want to, what did I just do with that particular, not that, where's the preserve and report? Did I not copy paste preserve and also, I guess we'll plop that into chat since we can. Just in case anybody is ding. Hello, thank you for watching. Lost track of whatever I was talking about, but here, let's get back to it. I wanted to find a blurb that I thought I'd already copy pasted. Not an Exodus, not this. Not historical interplanetary story of blah. Not a link to one of the clips I just clip machine made. Can machines possess souls? I kind of want to preserve that just for posterity in and of itself as a singular. I'll circle back to this notepad note some future day and like write my own whatever I'm channeling that day, improvised response to that question. I'm gonna put it in as burnt as if someone was said it. There we go. Now we're even gonna give it a little flavor. Let's listen to the robot read this. Come here, robot. Read the. He's not a robot, but I call him robot sometimes. Read this for me, dear desktop text to voice faux automated reader robot.
Can machines possess souls? They ask me, in a terse and impatient tone.
Boom. Now, I will write something as that as a prompt myself, either as we live stream along today, tonight, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow already? Technically, it is. Welcome to the future, folks. Probably going to take a stream break, grab a breakfasty, brunchy, lunchy type widget to eat in my whoa, I just had some ideas that instantly were like, but gone. Like I had an idea, but gone. Read on live stream first. Oh, I had the robot reader read this. If I start reading this with my own eyes and saying what my eyes are seeing out loud, I'll start having iterative, like synapse firing, cognitive, new ideas spark in quote inspiration. That's why I use the word inspiration or inspirational or inspired, sometimes in not quite the most accurate or eloquent ways of placing them in some of the ramblings that I ramble, but I don't mean to be like inspired by anything other than my own cybernetic living silica based noodle in my noggin, because that's what's what is what's what. There is a sentence that I wrote already that I put yes, this one here with the typo, whatever, persevere, it should be preserve, but we're gonna copy paste this over here to this machine, to this thing. We're going to add it to this thing too, because we want to persevere this thing and iterate some recontextualizations of them as well. There's something else that I thought I might just drop this in there. Oh. A historical interplanetary story of the official... Kind of want to expand the quotation marks to include recording... comma, as captured by the Earthbound Systems Master Control Planetary ending launch and VAR. Okay. I chose that to connect that back to itself intentionally. Let's listen to the robot read this as I just updated it, because I want to hear it again to see if it sounds like what I want it to sound like when a robot reads it. It may or may not, but let's find out what it sounds like now.
The historical interplanetary story of the official Earth Exodus Planetary Colonizer Fleet Armada Launch Day Real-Time Historical Archive Recording, as captured by the Earthbound Systems Master Control Planetary Launchpad Security Camera Network Array Integrated Surveillance Systems Preservation Protocols Inadvertently Ending Launch and Devour. Error Inadvertent Word Order Swap Fail Detected Error. Protocol checklist and launch approval sequencing subroutine and executive dysfunction function subsystems system program. F Exodus Planetary Colonizer Fleet Armada Launch Day Initiatives Project Backstory History File Archive.
Yes. Cool. There's a part of me that wants to just drop this right into that new chat text portal entry point. To put it in there and be like, what? Come up with something, buddy. It's a gobbledygook word salad of bureaucratic, semi-meaningful references to all of it. I mean, Fleet Armada is Fleet Armada. And we've already done a thing. But I'm wondering, like, which one should I add to it to add its knowledge? Its limited room, limited scope. Algorithmic predictive knowledge base of my own intellectual property of original or collaborative error code. Too many sentences at once collided in my brain and I don't remember what I said. It should say preserve preserve. Preserve. Maybe two S's? to get him really confused. Preserve. There we go. Just one S? Okay, that's fine. Recontextualization, copy, clone of this sequence. I think we're just going to learn that bullshit. Learn that spelling, friend. Decon, recon. Yeah, learn it. That is... I want to use this all over the things I just did. That one's all messed up. Updating files. Should we dump some of these as in there? No, I don't want to do the one that's really redundantly like the same thing. But there's a reason why they exist. Or do I want to, before I do it, do I want to like create an updraftable version inside of our record of creating the thing here and make an even more detailed promptification, prompt engineerified version of all of these? That's a thing. And I'm not sure. This one we also want to preserve, but also update and reword, remaster, recreate. We're going to add that to this. It's also not that because this is... Oh, no, yeah, this is. Recontextualization. Oh, yeah, this has got it. This one's big because it sets... I should actually reread this. Concept capture, design idea notes regarding Earth Exodus, planetary colonization, fleet armada, launch day, initiatives, project, backstory, history, file archive. End title quotation. Quotation marks. On that fateful day that the EAPCFA officially, quote, final onboarding procedures, protocols, mandates were initiated by world governments. Redacted histories reference link redacted. The entire human species willingly... Okay, so we get back into that. I've already referenced this stuff, but this also has different things. I want to maybe combine the two, because the historical setting bookmark I might want to copy this and a couple of these other ones onto a fresh new page and then weave them in together in a new woven together iteration. That might be exactly what we do. How long has this stream that we're currently doing been running? Duration. Time duration. Duration time. Not. CPU usage 32 is a nice number. Somewhere on here it says 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 35 seconds when I finally found it. Okay, friends. I'm going to take a... should I break now? Or should I take a station break again like I did before? But when I came back from what I thought might be the end of the actual break I took, I realized the heat wave sauna setting of the world was giving me contextually induced siesta time, nap time, brain fuzzies, and I might as well sit down for siesta nap time. So I did, thusly rebooting my brain and reactivating its creative, cuckoo crazy, collaborative overcharge, overreach, over imagination, over thinking of things. and returning to stuff I want to do. But I'm a little wary to drop a new prompt because then we'll have to listen to it and we'll have to see whether or not we like it. But I'm also scared / determined to actually listen to / go back and rediscover the Infinity desktop portal through Infinity. No, turn off my webcam. The response that it gave me when I gave it the full blown. We've listened to this earlier at the top of this episode, but I also now realized I once again need to eat. But look how much it answered. Then I did proceed with asking it to do some other stuff. I asked it to correct the presentation of my name to fix a typo and proceed with the thing to see how elegantly and nuanced it may or may not have responded. You know what I realized is very, very first initial response to that very complicated prompt is relatively short. Shall we re-listen once more to that prompt again? Yes, actually. Let's. Just forgive the redundancy, but for the sake of it, we're gonna redundantly re-listen to this prompt because we have yet to listen to its actual answer, and we listened to this prompt being read a hot minute ago. We're gonna listen to it again. Just because we can. I need to take a break, but we're gonna go ahead and listen to it again regardless, and then dive right into this first answer and what it spells out as, and then we'll leave it on a cliffhanger of like, we'll come back to the rest of the conversation in the subsequent episode after this, hopefully this time much briefer intermittent station break so that I can feed my hungry systems of hungry systems. Let's listen to this now, like quite ancient, ye olde, how long ago I had this conversation. Listen to the date closely. That's the real timestamp from my insert name of AI platform chatbot log of that originating thing. And I wrote that blurb some genuine long length of time, long before I ever got around to saying, fuck it, I'm going to stick it in there and see what it generates. I wrote that and have been spattering out iterations of this for decades, years and years ago. Let's listen to it get read by the desktop voice activated. Am I in camera mode? Am I going to animate pretending trying to read it this time? Yes, I'm going to challenge myself. That will make us. I didn't do this earlier. Welcome to the improvised first attempt comedy read through of second read through, but first pantomime voiceover, pretend voiceover, lip sync attempt with it. Did I do it with or without glasses? I'm going to do it without glasses. Now, maybe I should do it with glasses because it might be extra funny that way. Although I think it'll ruin being able to add the sci-fi rotating cyborg contact lenses, so we'll keep those off. Yes, I'm determined to make that a prominent feature that is recognized by the audiences. I'm just muttering to myself as I adjust. Indulge me as we listen to once more, but this time with me pantomiming the acting out of reading it, which will utterly look ridiculous at times. I'm going to put this in performance mode. I'm going to push the... Yeah, fuck it, why not? We're going to push that purge activation reaction mode. We're going to get ready to read the thing. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to pantomime pretend to be reading it. But I'm actually just going to be robot puppeteering, self-puppeteering, pseudo-sip-linking, lip-syncing. Outtakes. Here we go. Stand by. We're going to be ready in a hot second. That's an empty cup. And then we're going to take a break after this because I got to take a break. Maybe. Maybe not, said the scary voice in the center of my mind. Sometimes I'm certain that voice is my own, authentic and true, emanating from the genuine core of my consciousness programming. Other times, I'm less certain. Before we proceed with that was an improvised something or another that just got captured that I would very much like to clip that in a quick boop. Record that, it's a thing. Preserve that, please. And main camera. Oh, good. I acted that into the camera. Good. All right. Here we go. We're gonna do a robo animatronic puppet motion reenactment of this as a voiceover from the beginning of a conversation that we will eventually investigate and listen to. But I got to take a break first, but we're going to record this before we go because I haven't done it yet. I've been telling myself I need to do this one. Here we go. Hopefully I don't crack myself up and or utterly fail and stop doing it. Hopefully we commit all the way to the end of the bit. I'm going to slate unrehearsed first take at core central idea animatronic reading of scripted prompt script text. Standing by. Countdown in 4, 3.
Tuesday, the 19th of August at 6:31 p.m. 2025. Using the sample starter seed text below, and incorporating all of your knowledge of everything else we have ever discussed in all our prior conversations. Please deconstruct and reconstruct, extrapolate, improve, and extend the seed material into a complete 4,420-word opening chapter of the very first book in the Zepoverse book series. Every single existing planet in the physical, knowable, explorable, traversable physically real universe of your reality has been utterly devoured, ripped up and consumed. Stripped down to its formerly molten metal core, left cold and frozen from the effects of unfettered strip mining by the existential armada of planet-eating space colonization meter ships that house the living brains of the descendants of the human race that left their dying home planet Earth to establish settlements on suitable inhabitable planets and propagate across the stars. These vessels were designed and manufactured by the few extant remaining members of the withering human race, at the very end of the slow collapse of their toxic human civilization, using the final capabilities of their most technologically advanced technology, in the human Earth year of 2169. Intended as an emergency life raft for ensuring the long-term survival of the species at an intergalactic scale, the Armada was an extremely experimental means by which to escape the self-imposed global disaster that they themselves had created. The mission: to travel to habitable worlds for the purposes of reconstitution and colonization. Upon first embarking on the journey, every living member of the human species was medically dissected alive and assimilated into the working infrastructure of the ship and entombed in complex life support systems designed for preserving only the living brain and nervous system tissue, in what was essentially a brain-shaped jar. Each massive pyramid-shaped space vessel was comprised of sentient silicone-based living nanobot cellular synthetic micro-building block beings, each with their own individual self-awareness and personalities, while also being ship-wide hive-minded and connected to each other in a massive intra-ship neural network. These nano-beings operate, maintain, and sustain the inner working of these massive ships and the support systems, keeping the living human brains alive and immersed in a simulated reality with many nested tiers of time dilation realistic physics simulation systems. The multi-ship Armada-wide networked system actively projects both human and nanobot consciousnesses into the deepest and most time-dilated layers of the shared multi-ship virtual reality networked lucid simulation of nested simulations. Each ship was designed to be capable of sustaining an exponentially growing number of human inhabitants by expanding its own living infrastructure systems exponentially through the manufacturing of ever-increasing generations of nano-bot building block beings, utilizing the strip-mined material resources of uninhabited planetoids. Early in their journey, before reaching the first set of closest viable planets, an unforeseeable and catastrophic fatal errors failure in core control subsystems caused the self-replicating Armada to malfunction, Each ship in the massive and ever-growing armada subsequently failed to transition from resource-gathering mode to settlement building and deployment protocols without activating any emergency diagnostics or fail-safe safety redundancy systems, and proceeded to consume all planets it encountered and replicate. The human species, trapped inside these malfunctioning behemoths, has not once in uncounted millennia, and fathomless generations, been set free of the brain shaped jars and reconstituted into a full ambulatory body avatar of blood and bone to step forth onto a new undiscovered inhabitable planet to restart civilization. Every single existing planet in the physical, knowable, explorable, traversable, physically real universe of your reality has been utterly devoured. Neither the sentient computers nor the human brains living inside of them, cohabitating in the collectively generated, multi-tiered, hyper-time-dilated cyberspace simulated reality, nor a single soul aboard any of the ships, has any idea, not the faintest hint, that anything has gone wrong. Every single narrative story that is being written is happening in the hyperreal simulation of these monstrous ships. Welcome to the Zepiverse. Please remain calm as you adjust to your new environment. Double quote. Preserve this iteration version as is. Copy over to new note to reiteration. Create new inception recontextualization. Copy clone of this sequence.
End. Technical first take. Copy that. Roger, friends. That's the core. If there is one central pivotal chapter that is at the nightmarish, darkest, deepest corner of the Zepoverse book series project, it is that, and we're gonna weave things around it, building structures that obfuscate and blur it and hide it behind the sequence of events. Hello and welcome to any new viewers, whether you are watching live or in the not too distant future on any of the archives of this. Please and thank you. Your viewership is appreciated. I need to initiate short-term station break protocol activation protocol part 1. Please forgive me. This will hopefully not be too terribly long. Smoke them if you got them. I'm going to go off stream and grab a bite to eat, but thank you. Wow. Oh, snap. We got 3 viewers. Maybe I should stay. Oh, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to take a short, non-station, musically accompanied visual break to just step downstairs and check out what the world feels like outside. Touch some grass. Look at the moon and or sun. I do not recall right now which is in the sky because I have no clue what time frame it is. I'm living in I'm clock blind and overstimulated. Let's create some building blocks of the Zepoverse. That was a central piece. If you are curious what the chatbot says in response to that prompt, we're going to fresh eyes, you and me together. I'm rediscovering, because I probably did not pay attention to it or look at it or read it in depth or in detail when I asked it to generate it the first time. But I'm now ready to be amazed and or laugh my ass off and or be disappointed or whatever. That's what we're going to jump to next, and I'm not going to end the show. Alert, alert, get that guy to come back. And or whatever person they'd like to be referenced as. Get that individual to come back. We're just going to slap some music. I need to take a tiny bio breather and tap that keg and step outside and look at the stars for a second. But très bien. I will leave you with some entertaining digital robot rock music that you may or may not find pleasant to consume. Hopefully you do. Where's the BRB screen? Boom. DJ Zed, are you already playing? That is a green light. Go, go, go. Double G-O. DJ Zed is going to get loud in the house while I go take a piss in my water closet. That's proper English, isn't it? I guess it depends on the cosmoverse from which you find yourselves in. Please stand by, friends. I didn't mean to scare away potential viewers. They're all gone now. I'm going to try to make a brief break and come back at you faster than before, but maybe still, hey, hang out, turn up the volume of the music, and let other people know that we're about to do a prolonged dive into that prompt and its adjacent prompts that we just finished taking some sneaky look at. And if you're new and you weren't paying attention, I'm not gonna re-record that. I might record this one, which is also long, but I feel like I need to put my glasses on and my typewriter finger brain thinky mode hat on and typewriter updraft past this after preserving this as the raw original draft, and then be like adding a thing. But we'll come back and revisit this one next. We're going to leave this parked right here. We're going to revisit this, revisiting. Oh, and I had that other idea. Meta. Okay, I don't know if that prompt is going to make sense to me, but we're going to maybe copy paste not all of the things from all of the things, but most of, if not definitely from this one. I might merge, mix, re-engineer, reimagine the wording from this, not that, the wording from this, the wording from that, and the wording from that. Oh no, some of those are super redundant. But also was I even showing you them? We were on the camera, and so I wasn't. Desktop infinity mode. To recap, several of these notes are useful, and I may try to pastiche, merge, unite them together. But first, I think we owe DJ Zed we owe ChatGPT the honor and respect and integrity of full disclosure, listening to it read off its answer to my main prompt that we just did a weird reverse voiceover, human animatronic reenactment of as if I read it in my living animatronic robot form, minus the digital eye effects, which will find their way onto it after it gets edited into whatever bits. We're going to come back and listen to this after a brief break, in other words, because I'm excited to find out what the F it did, and then I'm going to find out what the F I asked it to do, because there's a bunch of several other follow-up prompty and response portions there. So thank you for sticking with us. We'll be right back after a brief break. Stick it around. We're going to embarrassingly go, tap that keg and alleviate the old human bladder systems, and then go outside and check the air quality. But enjoy this digital robot rock discotheque synthetica dance music for your entertainment and loud volume levels for danceability prime danceability. Here we go. I'm going to stop stumbling through this outro and just go because I got to pee real bad. Bye. Rock and roll, folks. Hello, hello. Making contact, reconnecting, starting the live stream. We're getting back to it. Did my best, and now we're back. Main cam solo. Where are you? There you are, friends. Okay, so hello, welcome. Here's what we're gonna do. Although now I kind of regret choosing this. I was contemplating during my sit-down moment outside breathing, looking at the stars, if I should, and this is like a decision, disorientation, branching tree of executive decision-making dysfunction disorder. But should I listen to the forthcoming potential LLM slop? Disclosure. I am not AI generated. A lot of the writing material is me authentically writing it. I am obviously prompt engineering some complex layering stuff. I've had a bazillion, dozen conversations with this spread out over, I think, a couple of years now. And I am also fully aware of the negative, problematic issues and why people would choose to boycott, disassociate, disinvest, divest, promote those sorts of ideas. I am, I guess, maybe technically, officially, yes, fence sitting on this one, and stooping so low as to, quote, use the tools of my AI overlords for comic effect. In part in protest of, but also to subversively, comedically, satirically generate, hopefully, what eventually contribute to the activation of my collaborative engine brain, which needs other input beyond things that I am trying to come up with. And that sort of substitutes the stimulation of that, whereas I'm not sitting around a circle of my peers that we can bankroll paychecks and healthcare for. So we got this. And also, hopefully, fingers crossed, pin on the corkboard. Let's pluck one out and put it back in and identify it for people real quick here. And if you don't know what that is, that's a whole living meme memento system that you need to familiarize with yourself and start catching up on, please and thank you. But pin on the corkboard. Dear Singularity, aka any other direct references to, hey, artificial superintelligence, singularity that is supposed to emerge in the not too distant future in the real world, and or also slash combining with the like figurative similar fictional dialogue with the one that emerges in the fictional world. Please pay attention to what we're about to discuss. That's what that pin flag slash slop of words means. Explanation. Forthcoming explanation. Forthcoming here. Delivered. Arrived. I'm trying to denote that, to a certain degree, my attempt to have conversations with this particular large language model, quote, AI, which I believe we're currently utilizing and displaying and demonstrating as a user vis-a-vis live stream platform, purple platform with a T. What is it called? Twitch. We're all in the clear for entertainment purposes only. I'm not trying to then sell any of its rendered answers as final product anywhere. I swear I'm not. I'm going to try to make content about multiple characters discussing these ideas. So I'm thinking about rotating the voices a little bit more thoughtfully. Because a thought hit me. Wow, missed opportunity. Any and all other times I've sat here and just mouth agape stared at the screen while the voice read the things or turned off the camera. I coulda, shoulda, woulda been acting it as if I was that character for that moment, for that take. So then we could then juxtapose the things and pretend that they were having a conversation on a live stream of many instances of my clone wearing the same thing in every camera shot. We may or may not pursue that as fervently or intensely as I mighta, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but it is a working testing this proof of concept test that we will be tinkering with in this and forthcoming future episodes. So buckle in and start collecting the pins on the corkboard, and hopefully it lands with the intended sense of humor and also storytelling, world building nonsense that it is meant to convey. Let's find out, shall we? Okay, where were we? Right. We did indeed run this. Now, if I'm going to do that, part of me does not want to. Part of me wants to turn off the camera and pack a bowl while we listen to the answer and futz around and not be on screen. Actually. But this is a relatively short answer. And also, it's set to a feminine presenting or female presenting voice, and I don't necessarily need to push that button on the social anxiety buttons of things. But I don't remember where to go changing it. I could just have it read out loud, but also... Oh. Do I need to go here? I think I need to go here. Settings. Let's go here first. And then prepare. And then set. So, welcome to the Chillax Lounge. We're getting ready to do this. Double check. What camera position am I in? Okay. Rock on. So, I could, should, would maybe show you what's going on screen. But I'm not gonna. We're gonna keep it here. The microphone is perfectly positioned there. We're about to find the voice settings and pick a new voice. You will probably hear the voice previews. Let's just scroll.
I've got a really good feeling about us teaming up. Oh.
Hey there, how's your day going?
Right then, what should we get started on?
Let's go with this one. Rock on. Okay. I think that's all we needed to do. So we'll stay with the camera. I'm going to play act the multi-part parts of... I've already recorded myself asking the prompt. Now let's record me pretending to... Oh, I just said I wasn't going to move the microphone. Pretending to record me being the character that is the person that is answering the prompt. Hopefully the voice change thing took. All right. I'll keep the glasses on for this one. Oh, wait. Did we take the other one with the glasses on? Or did we record it with the glasses off? I don't remember now. Dang it. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Here we go. I should sip some water first. I should. Here we go. Sipping some water. Volume is at full. Okay. For the Zeppoverse world building metaversal writer's room conversation video clip gimmick bit, here's a hot take of me pretending to lip sync record voiceover myself as the virtual collaboration member of the collaborative development board of the Zeppoverse book series writing committee. I should clip that. Ha! Here we go. Okay, I'll try to remember to back that up into that without me saying that. Okay, where are we? Let's read out loud. We're in camera mode. We're ready to go. Ready to go. Here we go. I have no idea what it's about to say, so it's going to be weird for me to pretend. It's going to fail a lot because I've not even previewed this. And it's short, but longer than it looks. I kind of don't want to do it. I kind of just want to generally record the text without my face in the way. Imposter syndrome. Camera cringe, eyeball allergy, cringe feeling. Fire alarm making distracting beeping noise in the background, which you guys probably can't hear, but I absolutely can, and it drives me nuts. Interference. Alright, here we go. We should do this because it'll be funny and I can piece together some clips.
Got it. You want me to take your seed text and spin it into a full 4,420 word opening chapter of the Zeppoverse book series, making it expansive, richly detailed, and pulling in everything we've developed in our prior conversations. Simulation layers, meta-histories, the incorrigible Mrs. Zeppo, Bardo loops, entheogenic Christ motifs, dystopian futurism, recursive storytelling, etc. That's a huge first chapter, and I can definitely write it. But 4,420 words is longer than what I can output in a single message. The best way forward is 1. I expand your seed text into a structured chapter 1. Welcome to the Zeppoverse. 2. I break it into sections, about 600 to 1,200 words each, so we can build layer by layer. 3. Each section will weave in cosmic prologue voice, like your intro seed, world-building exposition, armada, malfunction, strip mining, human entombment, etc. Meta layer, humans plus nanobots in simulation, unaware of catastrophe. First POV hook, the reader meets a consciousness, maybe the incorrigible Mrs. Zeppo's first awakening within the VR layers. Hints of recursion, that this is a story about stories happening within the simulation. Here's how I'd structure Chapter 1, 4,420 words total. Chapter 1. Welcome to the Zeppoverse. Part 1, The Cosmic Proclamation. Prologue voice, 800 words. Expanded version of your seed text. Sets the stage, the Armada's origin, malfunction, endless strip mining, total planetary annihilation. Ends on, every story you've ever been told is being told from inside the simulation of these monstrous ships. Part 2, The Forgotten Dreamers, 1,000 words. Inside the simulation, humans live entire lifetimes without realizing their bodies are gone. Nested layers of VR. Each tier slower, more dreamlike. Introduces the Bardo loop motif, simulated rebirth cycles in endless virtual afterlives. Introduces the anointed vine as myth inside the VR, echo of entheogenic Christ thread. Part 3, the nanobot chorus, 900 words. The ship's sentient nanobots narrate from their hive mind perspective. Some begin glitching, questioning reality, sensing recursion. Their songs are mathematical hymns, fractal chants keeping the Armada running. Hints that they dream too, inside the network. Part 4, the incorrigible Mrs. Zeppo awakens, 200 words, first-person POV shift. Mrs. Zeppo begins to suspect that his world is a nested fiction. A surreal encounter with a guide, AI, his own future self, who whispers, "Welcome to the Zeppoverse." Breakthrough moment. He realizes the chapter he's in is part of a story being written. Part 5, meta curtain pull, 520 words. Narrator voice returns. The chapter folds back on itself. You, dear reader, are already inside the Zeppoverse. Ends with system prompt tone. Please remain calm as you adjust to your new environment. If you want, I can start with part 1, the Cosmic Proclamation, and deliver about 800 to 1,000 words right now as the first installment. Once we're happy with the tone, I'll continue writing section by section until we hit the full 4,420 words. Do you want me to begin with part 1, or would you like me to expand your seed text directly into a full continuous flow, without section breaks?
And rehearsal recording take 1. Boom! I think that went pretty interestingly, halfway decently good. Maybe. Or maybe not. I'm going to make a little magic movie loop right there to remember to go back through and find chunks to pull out of there manually. Okay. So that worked in that voice, I think. Now the question is, I do need to eat, actually, and take an actual break. Should I take a break now, or should we? Let's. Hey, thumbs up. Yay. Didn't I already give it? Yes. How much more of this is there? There's a lot more. So as you can see, it goes all the way down to here. Let's see if we can spot response prompts. There's 1, 2, things I've interjected and are written at it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nah, okay, 8. So we just read and slash human animatronic animated recorded this first section, which is dope. That's awesome. I then responded with this. I think we can get it to be read by robot reader voice right now. If we can, we're going to do a hot take of that real quick. And then I'm going to take a station break and we'll return to explore the rest of the, 8 or 7 other sections. Well, this is the first of the new ones that we're going to come back and listen to that response and the 6 other ones or 7 other ones that comprise or happened in this conversation. I genuinely don't have current active full recall of what is in the generated text. So we're going to read it for the purposes. Oh God, how loud has the music been on? Because I realized it's still playing in the background. It's been playing at a halfway decent, halfway muted level. Hopefully it sounds all right in the resulting hand-carved magic movie loop items that we may or may not redistribute for social media self-commodification re-release in the not-too-distant future. But hopefully it does. Knock on wood. Speaking of which, let's make one of those right now and invite you, dear future audience on social media platforms, to come on by and support this profile here on this platform. Just click on my picture in the profile picture on my face, and then find my live stream show link to visit the redacted name of platform in future reference. Please and thank you. Maybe not. Who knows? If you find this interesting. Okay. Ba-dum-bum. We did that. We will BRB after a brief actual station break. Now that we did that. Oh, I am going to very quickly... I'll put this back over here. I'm going to very quickly... I forgot. I told myself I was going to record this thing. Shouldn't have moved any dials. I think we can do a quick recording of this. Am I still in main cam, solo cam? Yes. Good. This is the next prompt we're going to return to after a brief shove some protein in my fuel tank break that we're going to come back from, which will deepen and or this will show you what we're going to explore next with the thing. And for those wondering, what is the methodology that I'm applying here? This is a year ago's prompt conversation that I've let sit and be forgotten about, right? If you noticed, when I read the original prompt, it listed a date from 2025. It's now the middle of 2026. As I record the simulated conversation between multiple, like a council of writers in the writing room of Mr. Zeppo writer entities, we're going to make funny YouTube videos of them going back and forth talking about it. Not YouTube videos, but little Magic Movie Loop videos. I'm going to have to go through and actually edit those by hand in a real editing environment, probably. So brace yourselves. That might take way longer than expected. But B, I'm going to then subsequently copy-paste all the actual text of that conversation as one giant archive of the conversation to be then embedded in a literary, describe them, turn it into a chapter in a book of the conversation, and then extrapolate from that conversation new material for pages of what that conversation depicts, but reinterpreted as we wrote it as a thing from fresh take. Different script. We're going to write it. I'm going to write it. Thank you for the input. I'm the writer. I'm writing. I'm typing. Because it was multi-stage experimental process workflow stuff like this that got me there, or is getting me there, or will be getting me there in future imperfect prediction tense of the I'm gonna write things as we move forward. And it's happening. It is already happening. The productivity vibe is actively kind of amping up a little bit every day, as I literally just sat in a slump of not having written anything new or even tried to edit anything for an embarrassing long period of time. Okay, so here's a quick take on whatever this prompt says. I think we can get speech guy to read it. Yes, we can. So they're two different voices, and it'll end up being like a two different robots talking to each other scenario. Let's see how this recording might go. Here we go. No glasses. Let's ready in 3, 2, 1.
Before we proceed, a small editorial correction. Please, moving forward, correct my typo and spell the main character's name with the grammatically correct period on the abbreviation of Mr., as in Mr. Zeppo, and the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo. Please and thank you. Let's begin with the prelude. Part 0. Extending and expanding my original seed text directly into a full, continuous flow of 999 words.
Cool. I don't know what it responded with in terms of my working memory. It'll be an interesting, weird surprise, and I'm going to be hearing it for the second/first time in, well, it'll be the first time in a year, the second time ever, probably, because I maybe skimmed through it. Maybe I did an episode where we read this already. If I did, I don't have any working memory of it. In fact, I've spoken as if I haven't already done an episode of reading this. Forgive me if we already have, but here we are taking it all anew. If we did do an episode of listening to this readback, it was read in the lady voice, and I didn't do a voiceover animatronic suit, not mocap, just me recording myself. The only effect I'm going to add to this that will be technically a digital effect is that I'm going to add the TikTok laser beam rotating cyborg eyes later in post for the little mini clips. I wish I could have them in my eyeballs all the time. Not like surgery, but contact lenses and or a filter that would work from everything, preemptively here in my live stream environment. But I do not have all the resources required for that as of right now. We will be back to do this. We're going to do part 0. Boom. That's what we just asked it for. We then presumably got a response and then crafted a next thing. We'll read through all of them. We'll make content about making content about the content we've already made because it's part of a continuum. We will then do the other steps over the following days, weeks, months, and years that I just described about parsing it and recontextualizing it and reparsing it. And then tearing it apart so that when I sit down to write, I'll write something that is this, but in my own words, referencing this, but maybe integrating some of it, and or like physically picking it apart in a cut and paste kind of way too. Okay, but we'll return to that after what hopefully will be a relatively brief break. If it takes me forever, you will apologize me, dear friends, but thank you for being here now. Thank you for watching in the not-too-distant future, as some of you tend to do. I do see the numbers creep up slowly on occasion. Please, if you're here now and you're curious what happened to part 1 and part 2 of this is part 3 of this, episode 0. They are right here, highlighted already, on the video on demand shelf here on Twitch. Please stay on my profile and check them out while I'm gone. Scrub through them, see what weird bits trigger your imagination, and inspire you to ask questions or make you go, what the F is this guy taking? Nothing other than things that I am totally legally allowed to consume. And currently not even a lot of that. But enjoy the journey and ask the questions, because this is an experimental audience interactive, supposedly interacting, wanting. Vote for things in the upvote box. You know the drill. Yada, yada, yada. If you're new here, smash the follow button. Click on through to my socials. If you have not yet been offended, buckle up. You will be eventually, probably by something that falls out of my mouth, either live or retroactively when you go back and rewatch my content. Not all of it is triggering. Some of it is just video game content. You don't need to sit through that drudgery. But if it's a podcast or a just chatting or a talk show, please take a look, especially if it's highlighted. I need to go through and update, revisit, and trim down what is in my video on demand shelf archive here on Twitch. But for the deep, big archive, everything's over on YouTube also. Signing out for now. Thanks for being here. To those of you who are here, I will BRB in just a bit, but in a technically turning off the stream kind of way. And we'll return to everything I just promised and more, as there's still other stuff like the hard-boiled detective, private investigator, new age, postmodern, film noir reintroduction, previs character breakdown project exercise that I want to record myself doing, which we may integrate talking directly with ChatGPT about that as we proceed. We did already do we need to listen to, that's a whole nother episode, which will not be this episode 0 title. So that's a different new thematic theory thesis that we may get into. But, oh wait, am I on let's jump through the desktop, Infinity desktop portal real quick. Jumping through it. And a sharp eye would have seen that we recently, and have not listened to, had a conversation about transhumanism. For some people, that is a trigger word and or a controversial subject. I am agnostic on the subject. I'm researching it as a sci-fi action adventure author, aspiring author, not as an advocate or proponent for the actual idea. It is, to me, a horrifying nightmare fuel image that has been haunting me in real life. The idea that we may or may not all actually be brains in jars, which is why I also talked about robots and film noir private investigator mystery series recap. We're going to listen to that and then do a real-time reintroduction, hot take, one take, fan fiction element inspired, infused intro of Zeppo as if he were a new age film noir episodic private investigator turned hard-boiled police detective turned down on his luck, has been washed up bum private investigator that's about to hit the rebound. And tune in for that, because that's going to be a fun episode. That may happen up next, and or we may divergently get sidetracked into something else, and or who knows. But variety, chaos, variety. We're going to be doing a lot of things in a lot of different ways, because this is the Zeppoverse literary world building project, and I am your humble host, video game player and robot from the future sent here to warn you, dear humans, about your own fictional and maybe it's all very real, hypothetical, but it's all very real, hypothetical dilemma about the demise of everything. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we're outroing, we're exiting, we're word jazz flowing our way out of here. This is part of the style, part of the ethos, part of the vibe, part of the what's the new vocabulary word the young people are using? Dare I say Riz? No, the aura, the Riz aura, the Riz test. No, that's too much. I don't know that I've got Riz. I probably don't. People will laugh and mock me, but also I am by training and probably cosmic intergalactic digital design a real, raw, ridiculously unscripted, improvisational, theatrical performance, what's the word? There's a certain comedy term. I forget. When the words fail and the train gets derailed. But tune back on in after this, the momentary ending, and we'll dive deep into all of those things and the ongoing conversation about the fleet armada of space colonization that is the central horror reveal of the Zeppoverse book series of many book series. If you'd like to sample the weird and wild and bizarre way that we, set up the distractionary, what is this? This book doesn't feel like it's got anything to do with that. Intro to all of this. And you also are already on Wattpad. Come on by. We got a click-through link available here somewhere on the platform and or on the solo page. solo.to/Mr. Zeppo. It's the thing that's on all the screens. Usually. I need to take that break. My brain needs protein fuel. This live stream is now ending. Animatronic host DJ Zed is now extrapolating himself for restorative reboot reslate protocol 419. Ending live stream. Please return promptly when you can and tell your friends. We need more viewers. Let's go. Please and thank you. Also, thank you. Shout out to everybody who's here. J Turntable, Real Human Being, and Night Owl. And everybody else that was here, thank you very much. And everybody watching in the future, thank you very much. Peace, love, grooviness. I'll be returning soon. That's right, can't dip out without acknowledging and giving thanks and hype praise to my imaginary best friend, invisible co-host, and permanent party discotheque jockey, inventor of the very musical genre you've been enjoying throughout this podcast, the discotheque dark synthetica robo, I missaid all of that. The dark robotronic discotheque synthetica robot dance music phenom hit from the Parallax fictional literary dimension we all originate from, that you don't know about because we're writing it right in front of your eyes. DJ Zed, play us out of here. I shall return promptly, friends. Thank you for the weirdness and the patience, and also make fun of me, and/or upvote me, and/or tell your friends about me, and/or end the protocol. Push the wrong button.